Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us for Live from the Knitting Wars. I am Deplorable Knitter. We are joined, as always, by Anna Pinkova. And then we have Tina from One Yarn and Fiber. And we got Neil. Hi, Neil.
Hello. So are we missing someone?
I think so.
Oh, if I say the name 3 times, will she appear?
I heard that's what happens.
Okay. Murdernits. Hey!
The fact that you were laughing made that less fantastic. Oh, that's too funny.
I'm here. Hello.
Hi, Tabitha. So the reason that Tabitha got her own fancy thing is because she has her Beetlejuice shawl on because she has rejected summer. And it is obviously the season for shawls.
And the West Knits Mystery Knit Along is getting announced on the 1st. So if you would like to knit a Beetlejuice shawl like me, pick Halloween colors. And let's knit it together and I'll complain the whole time.
I was almost thinking that we all should knit one together, but it's like, nah, that's just kind of a train wreck waiting to happen. A very
I would love
funny
it.
train wreck. But
You're only saying that because you two are the
like,
fastest.
No.
I'm not
We'd still
knitting
be
any
knitting
sort of
next year.
shawl. Yeah, no. I don't have time for that. Sorry, guys. I'm in the process of setting up a craft fair because, I don't have enough going on. So then a friend that owns a farmer's market is like, I want to get more business. So I said, let me set up an arts and crafts show for you. Yeah, because I have time for that. So whatever. So now I'm making a shawl to go in my tent because I have to have my own tent.
That's cool.
See? It's crocheted. It's got a puff stitch in the middle. It's very pretty. And it will turn dark green.
You could do the Mystery Knit Along and sell it for like $1,000.
No, unfortunately, the area that I live in, I'm lucky if I can get somebody to pay me like $75 for like a large piece. So it is what it is.
Somebody
Miss
called
Pogo likes your hair.
Oh.
Neil and I are always on the same page. Here.
Yeah, how did you get your hair from pink to blonde?
Heavy bleach and thank you, Miss Pogo. Yeah, just lots of bleach and sitting on the couch and praying that I would still have hair when it was done. So, if you look at my hair too hard right now, it'll break off. So like, try to avert your eyes a little bit.
That's funny.
So Teresa is waiting for Gary, so I think I need to explain that. I don't know whether anyone knows. Apparently, in the UK, nobody has been named Gary since 1992. So they're saying the name Gary is going extinct.
How can that be? That not one single
Gary
person.
revival.
Well, there are still some Garys alive. It's just that there's been nobody named Gary since
Is that
they were
when
born.
SpongeBob came out?
Oh, yeah, because there's a character in that, isn't there?
The snail's Gary.
Yeah.
Maybe. But then I don't know how many people are called SpongeBob. I'm sure there's some.
I thought SpongeBob was out earlier than that, but I could be wrong. It's been on for like 30 years.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess that's about right then. So maybe it is.
Yeah, maybe.
Huh.
You can blame that awful show.
Yeah,
Oh, it's not
3 years
so
too
bad.
long.
Oh, she was.
Seems that
Teresa
Treat
was
make it-
referring to Gary from Nerdriotic. I don't understand the reference.
Nerdrotic?
there.
I don't know who that
Nerdrotic.
is.
Oh,
he's
that's
the
the guy who runs Friday Night Nights that they're always
Yes.
late.
Oh, no. So in the same vein as Friday Night Tights, Anna's late always, and she was the one we were
Every
waiting
time.
for. I won't even lie. But that's okay. And this show is her idea, so of course she's late.
I'm feeling a lot of pressure right now. I'm feeling just not like super attacked, but a little attacked, like micro attacked.
Well, those microaggressions are some of the worst that can happen. So
I know it's terrible. They just death.
Who
by
do we
thousand.
need to block, Cam? Who do we need to cancel to make you feel better? All of us?
Nah, I'm good.
See, when she said she was waiting for Gary, I assumed it was our friend Gary Knits Gary Rides, who has started his own YouTube channel.
Oh, he has, hasn't he?
Yeah, free advertising for Gary. Hi, Gary. You know how you wrote a list about how horrible we all are? Here's some free advertising. Go see Gary. I'm sure you'll have a great time, and he won't be like bitter or angry or off-putting at all. You should go and watch. And also,
I don't
as
know
I
this
always
guy.
say for our channel, hate views are views. So, like,
He said he was.
I saw he had a podcast. I was like, this is Christmas. This is awesome. We can get so much content out of this. This will be amazing.
Well, he's going to do content about us. I thought he was going to do the whole craftivism and share his
I don't
stuff.
know. It's a craftivism podcast, but this is what happened. I sped him up to 1.5, and it was almost like listening to a normal person talk. I don't know how people who have to interact with him are in a coma all the time. He's so slow. I just can't even. I've got stuff to do.
Well, I mean, he's
Anyway.
optimistic. He thinks he's going to end AIDS, doesn't he, by knitting and riding a bike? So it's like, well, good on you.
Hey, you know,
Does he do
I
both
thought
at the
have
same
goals.
time?
it's a scientific solution, but okay.
I wish he did do both at the same time. Then he would be worth watching, I think. But no, I don't think he does.
anyway,
He's been very quiet, though, lately, hasn't he? He's not mentioned any of us for quite a while.
that's all right. He's busy getting his YouTube going and seeing how many people he can put into a coma before he's done. So he's got
Getting
other
the
stuff
yarn
on.
untangled from his bicycle spokes. It's rough.
Oh, yeah. I've got some
Anyway.
yarn to show, actually. Do you want to see it?
Let's see.
Okay, I
Oh,
got
I
this
have yarn.
from a dyer. I can't remember her name now. But this is one of them. I believe it's called something potato, I think.
It's a terrific tuber.
A terrific tuber.
Yeah. Sweet potato, maybe, I think. I can't remember.
Oh, that is not a sweet potato, let me tell you.
It's a
And then-
moldy potato.
We have something to do with transsexuals, I think. Because
That's
it's
an
blue with a
extremely-
bit of pink, so it has to be something, doesn't it? I don't know.
Well, that's an extremely dangerous yarn. I feel very violent when I look at it. Can you-
Actually, it does sting. It is hurting my fingers slightly. It's like there's nettles in there or something.
Can you put a
Yeah.
trigger
Matches your
warning up
backdrop.
before you-
Excellent.
A trigger warning, yeah. And then the last one is this one, which
Yeah.
is my favorite. And I didn't know I was going to get this one. So, and this one is called Literally Knitler.
Nice.
This is my yarn. This is my signature yarn. And so this is very clever of the person that dyed it, I think, because it means I'm going to have to buy a whole shed load of this so that I can wear it and say, this is my yarn. So if you didn't
Show
know,
up
it's
to the
Tina's.
party.
So
Hey.
thank you, Tina. Thank
You're
you very
quite
much.
welcome. Yeah,
So-
I wrote him a poem too.
Yeah.
Roses are red, violets are blue. You're literally Hitler, but you're totally cool.
Well, you did this because there was the possibility that I'd been bullied by our friend Potato. But I've noticed that this week you've had a bit of a run-in with Potato again. So I think
Oh,
it's time you
yeah.
did your own yarn for you.
Tina, here's a little suggestion for you. Not a sweet potato should be a coordinating color to go with dramatic potato.
Oh, after last night, there's going to be a part 2.
Oh gosh.
And a part 3.
So what's happened?
Okay, so I'm on the couch last night taking a nap, like just minding my own business as one does, and just kind of gearing up for the night of work. And all of a sudden, my wrist vibrates, and I get a text, and I see it's Mikey Harlow, and I'm like, "What the hell?" And he's like, "Are you in the chat right now on so and so show?" And I'm like, "What?" And I immediately knew, oh my God, it's this freaking troll again. Somebody has been imitating my Twitter handle, and they stole one of my embroidery photos. And they've been, so their name on YouTube is Flowers Against Effery, which, okay, I curse like a fucking grown-up, okay? I don't say effery, I say fuckery like a grown-up. And so, they stole my freaking embroidery photo from my Twitter page, and they were initially in this guy Graphically Alex's live stream, like in the chat. And so I mean, that surprised me because me and Alex were having a spat because he's a really, really petty guy. But he used to be one of Carlin's lap dogs, and then they kind of split ways. But then she was, I shouldn't give it away just yet. I'm going to tell you how I found out it was Carlin. But anyway, so
Spoiler.
Okay, and 1 second. For anybody
Spoiler.
watching who doesn't know, Carlin happens to be Dramatic Potato, which is how this is all tying back to the
Exactly.
whole thing.
Bring
Just
you up.
FYI.
yes, and she deserves every ounce of mockery she gets. So
Indeed, she does.
yeah, so Alex is like, oh yeah, you don't care I was streaming, then why were you in my chat last night? I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I was working until 8:00 in the morning. I didn't even know that you were streaming. And he sends me a screenshot, and I'm like, holy shit, somebody is like, this is really creepy. So I was like, all right, I'll just keep an eye on it, whatever. And then last night I get that text from Mikey, and I spring wide awake, and then I see I got a message from somebody on Twitter like, is this you right now? And I'm like, what? Oh my God, what's going on? So I jumped in there, and you know, me not being 100% sure it was Carlin at this point, she's like, I've never heard of Carlin. Why are you so paranoid? I got this picture off of Google. A whole bunch of people have names that are words against words and blah, blah, blah. And
But the thing is, and not to, this may be, you know, again, spoiling for a thing, but she mentioned the Hitler goes to heaven thing. Who talks about that? Who says
that was
that
a good giveaway.
ever?
That
Like,
and
who's
the
walking
language.
around and like, yeah, I'm just going to talk about this. It's like, no, it is specifically a Dr. Carlin Borchenko special to talk about that.
I'm just going to casually mention Hitler's in heaven like normal people do.
Yeah, all the time. All
Well,
the time, always people be chatting about, you know.
I like to lead with that so people know where I stand. I mean, how else will they know?
Exactly. I mean, it's like a handshake telling people your first name, you know, so
If certain
it's
Hitler went to
so,
heaven,
like-
I mean,
Do we need to go around the circle and say, hey, I don't think Hitler went to heaven? I just want to make that abundantly clear. Like, very, very clear.
So the other giveaways were her words, you know, because she gets stuck on the same buzzwords over and over again. So she's all like, you know, authoritarian, literally, Mike's a grifter, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, we all freaking know it's you. So anyway, she gets booted out of the chat for like 5 minutes because the host was like, who is this person yucking up the comments? Hi, Carrie. We were just talking about a favorite person in the whole wide world. So, yeah. So, I mean, like we all know it. I mean, Carrie was there last night. She knew it was Carlin too, but I didn't know for certain, like 100% couldn't prove it until she commented on the video after the video. So it was like, it wasn't just a live chat. So I was able to click on her link. Actually, my fella did this and he was like, this person has a YouTube channel. Come look. So I go to the profile and I'm like, all right, I'm just going to block this person. Whoever the hell this is creepy. I'm blocking this person. And I see the only option is to unblock. And I'm like, what? I've never blocked anybody on YouTube. That doesn't make sense. And then I realized I did. I blocked one profile on YouTube, and it was a profile called Liz the Disjointed Zebra. And it was this person who came on the Spicy Heck Girl video that I did like way back when I first came back. And I was like, hey, Carlin went fucking crazy, right? And then, of course, Carlin proved my point by making a 51-minute video about me.
That's right. And what's your number? It's like over 400 hate tweets or something. It's just some nonsense.
Way over that. Like I haven't even tallied up for August yet, but we were like well past 700 at the point that she was that I last counted. So yeah, she's freaking nuts. But I realized, I was like, oh, it's got to be that Liz the Disjointed Zebra account. And then I was like, wait, now I'm putting everything together because Carlin has so many sock puppet accounts that she interacts with. And after you've seen her interact with them for a while and you know she does it, you know they all have the same language. They're all like very simpering and like, I don't know why people are so mean to you. I don't see any evidence of you being this, that, and the other thing. Even though people are like,
you're the best.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that thing with like Cartman, and he's got like all his stuffed toys in the circle and they're having a tea party, and it's like, oh, Cartman is totally cool, and he's totally not fat, and everybody likes him. And it's like Carlin and her sock puppets is Cartman and his stuffed animals having a tea party. It's amazing. So that's how I knew it was Carlin, and I suddenly realized like she is way more demented than I've been giving her credit for. Like that is a whole nother level of deranged. Like I knew she had sock puppets at that point, but to know that she interacted with them on that level, and not only that, she interacted with an account of the same name on her Instagram page, and I was just like, how do you have the brain?
Who has
power for
time?
this? Yeah, how do
That's
you
what I
keep
wanna
all this
know.
story straight? Like, how do you do this?
Oh,
And I'm just glad that like people are witnessing this with me, because if I just like jumped into a group like this and was like, hey, okay, so you're not going to believe this, but there's this chick and she does all of this stuff, you all would be like, you're paranoid and weird. What the hell is wrong with you? But y'all are seeing it in real time. So thank goodness for that.
All right. Yeah, I missed it. I don't go into many of those chats, but
Teresa's mentioned Sybil, so I presume she means the woman with the 16 personalities. Have you seen that film?
No.
I have not.
Oh, what's she called? She played the wife of Robin Williams in the transvestite film, which I can't even think what it's called now. Somebody tell me the name.
Mrs. Doubtfire?
Mrs. Doubtfire, yeah. She played his wife. What's she called?
Sally Fields.
Sally Fields, that's it. Yes.
Let's get Carrie in on this.
But then
Carrie
the
Smith.
woman whose
Hey,
story
I was-
Sybil. Sorry.
Oh, I was posting in the private chat. Sally Fields.
That's
Sally
what,
Fields.
I know the answer.
you should have shouted louder. I couldn't hear you.
What do I win?
Oh, you did. You posted it. She posted it a lot. She did not want us to be wrong on that.
You're right.
Hi guys. There's a big storm happening here. It's beautiful.
Ooh, cool.
It just started, and anyway, thanks for letting me join your knitting.
Thanks for
Chat.
coming.
Glad to have you.
I've got my retarded piece of knitting from last time.
Yeah, well, if you keep coming to these, maybe you'll have a Christmas present for someone. You can give them a wonky
Yeah.
scarf and be like, I made it with love.
You know what I need to bring if you invite me to another one of these is a cross stitch that I was working on and never finished. And I do cross stitch more than I do knitting, and it's a present from my husband. It's the Beatles, and
Oh, cool.
yeah, it's a great pattern.
So that
found it
was
on-
not for Tina.
not for Tina. Right, since we learned. Oh yeah, we did learn that about you. So weird.
I'm going to get that scarf now, aren't I? Gonna get it like in a weird box in the mail, and it's
The
gonna be
Beatles.
like it's high fashion. Enjoy your scarf. You Beatles hating bitch.
Large letters written on
Well,
the box.
You do realise you'll never be able to walk anywhere near Liverpool in the UK now, don't you?
Not well. I mean, I could always wear a mask.
A John Lennon mask.
Oh God.
Or Yoko. You could do Yoko,
Glasses
maybe.
over it.
I thought people didn't like Yoko. Is that not a thing?
Oh, true.
I'm not that
actually. Well,
into the
yeah.
Beatles, though.
I think they're warming to her a little bit now, though, aren't they? Because I think they're finding out that it wasn't all her. I think because Tina wasn't completely wrong, were you, Tina? There were a few things about John.
Oh, about Yoko?
Yeah, I don't think she was quite as bad as they made her out to be.
No, I don't think she was. However, there is a really funny video on YouTube of there's two of hers that I love, and the one I'm thinking of is she performed with John Lennon when he got to perform with, I think it was Chuck Berry. Let me look.
It
this
was
up.
Chuck Berry. I
Yes.
know the video you're talking about. Oh my God.
And you guys, if you haven't seen this, it's amazing because it's him and Chuck Berry. Now, Chuck Berry is one of his idols. And so for him to get to sing Johnny Be Good and all these songs with Chuck Berry is amazing. And at first the video, the camera it was a televised performance, and the camera's like close angle, and you just see like John Lennon and Chuck Berry, and they're doing Johnny Be Good or one of those songs, and they're like really rocking out, and then you pan out and you see the rest of the band, and then you see Yoko is there with, I think it was a tambourine or something, or drum, a tambourine, and the microphone is way down here because it's for her instrument, right? Well, then while they're singing, she takes her microphone and pulls it up here and starts screaming while they're singing. and the camera's on Chuck Berry's face, and he goes.
Well,
Yes.
Wombat says that Meghan Markle's the new Yoko Ono, so there you go.
Wow, that's a great quote, huh?
I'm still glad you've got them, by the way. We don't want them back.
Do we
official.
really, though? Do we really?
For a minute there, I was confused. I was thinking it was backwards and that you had them again. No, we still have
Oh, no. Have we? We haven't, have we?
No, I don't think
I
so.
thought they went back. Or was that just a visit?
I think it might have been was it for the funeral, for Philip's funeral?
No, I thought they went back for something else.
Mm.
I was reading Gossip magazine, so maybe that's not my best accurate royal
They were
news.
there for the Platinum Jubilee. Are
Maybe
you
that's
talking
it
about
could have
since
been that.
then?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it could be that.
Yeah, they showed up for that, and where Meghan asked for a better seat, and the Queen said no. That
For
she
real?
was put back with the lesser royals and not in the front row. Oh man! So
Well-
I know that I sent an article, but I just started reading it. I didn't read through the whole thing because it's in the insipid Vogue variety style. But the Cut magazine piece about Meghan Markle, that the interview, and she has a new podcast now, and it's all about her and all of the people she knew before Harry, of course. She was such a lovely and glamorous person before Harry, but then Harry's just dragging her down as he makes the goofy husband side appearance to her show, and it's all about her. She just glows. She's just such a beautiful, beautiful person to her core. And Serena Williams and her, they are best friends because they understand each other. They understand how difficult it is to be such a beautiful, glamorous woman just at the top of their game always. And Meghan Markle was not a C-list actress who didn't even have a good part in her mediocre, okay-ish kind of crime show. Like, no, she was somebody. She was beautiful. She was
Okay.
glamorous. It's
Let
all
me tell
about her.
Listen, she was mediocre because the only thing I ever saw her in was a Hallmark movie. So therefore, not that I don't love Hallmark movies, please do
I
not
love
get me wrong.
Hallmark movies.
But the people who are in them are not always the best. I mean, for real, that's kind of like a. And I actually didn't mind the movie she was in, but now that I know more about her.
Are Hallmark movies the ones that are usually in the afternoon for bored housewives? And
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
Hallmark is
And
known for their Christmas movies, and they all have the same exact thing. The high-powered woman comes back to her small town for some reason. She meets a guy there that she dated in high school or used to
Yes,
like or
yes.
something. They have a misunderstanding, and then by the end they're together. Every single one, you can count on it. I can leave the room
And
for
she
20
has to
minutes. I
say
can come back
no
and know
to
what's going on.
her A-game, high-powered CEO boyfriend, because that's just not the life
Oh, yeah.
she wants. She wants to
Yeah.
marry the baker in a sweater, and that's just how it's going to be.
But I do love Hallmark movies. Although they're trying to get more woke. I used to like it because, like, if I left the room and it was on, I never had to worry about what my kids were seeing. But last year there was one where it was like an interracial couple and a gay couple and like a something else. And I'm like, oh God, I have to start worrying about this too. Like,
Yes, even Hallmark is starting to get more woke. This is true.
yeah, because they have their little checklist. And my dad and I were talking about it. Like, if you're watching a movie where it just naturally happens that these different characters come in, that's fine. Like, it's okay. But he's like, when they introduce them all in the first 5 minutes and you can tell that they had their checklist and they're like, oh, here's my person in a wheelchair and here's my this. And it's just, it's going to be crap because they're
Is
just
it the
trying
same
to.
in America where,
I'm-
like, we've got this thing, not that there's anything wrong with interracial relationships at all, but every
Oh, no.
single new show, every new advert, everything that's brand new, every new film seems to always have an interracial couple with a mixed race child, and it's like
it's
really
the new
obvious.
thing. Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
new thing. Or and the same thing with trans in television shows, because they're trying to increase visibility. So now it's like
I mean,
they do pitches and they're like, well, but we need to make one of these characters trans, which in reality, the trans population has always been like less than 1%, but now that's booming. And I think in part
It's a
because
massive amount or percentage of media.
because it's like, let's overrepresent, let's make like it to this crazy degree. And Hollywood seems to only do things in extremes. It's either a boys club where it's easier for a while there, and it was, where it's like to be a white guy pitching something. That's just true. It was easier. I know I'm going to piss off a lot of anti-woke people, but in my experience, it was a boys club for a long time. But then it decided to, address racism and sexism and change all these things. So what does it do? It goes to the other extreme. Now it's like, sorry, we can't promote you because you're a white guy, or we don't want to hear your script because you're a white guy. It's like they only know extremes.
It kind of reminds me of the Douglas Murray line. He was talking about the banks and how the banks have the big gay pride banner and everything. And he's like, as a gay man, what? Why is my bank, rainbow colored all of a sudden? But
you've not heard of the pink pound?
No.
Have you never heard of that? The pink pound?
Is this for real?
Is it?
Yeah, in Britain, it's a term that you use for the spending power that gay people have, because they don't have kids or they didn't have kids, and they'll be a twin income.
And they use they use pink money?
No, only figuratively.
Printing money just for the gays. What?
This reminds me of shekels that you were talking about.
That's embarrassing, but whatever. I thought shekels was a fake word for money, like moolah. I mean, I knew it was a historic kind of money. I just didn't know people still use shekels. I just kind of used it like moolah.
Right.
So the pink pound is real, Kerry.
Okay, thank you.
It's real. You finally come here. You're going to have to get some. So,
anyways, finish my lame Douglas Murray story. So he was talking about the bank, and sorry, I will reinterject. Don't worry, I'm a bulldog on these things. That he was talking about, it's still all these old white guys at the head of this bank board, but they need to sort of pay lip service to this. And his point was that whatever restructuring they have to do, whatever, bowing to the mob they have to do, it's like that is in their mind calculated better for them than dealing with the actual problems their bank has caused. That, the actual lending habits, the actual issues. It's much better to be like, oh, but we're like super supportive, we're an ally, than to be like, yeah, so we've done some bad stuff over the years, and maybe there should be some. It doesn't matter anymore because you slap a rainbow on that and you're golden.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, look, shiny, look over here. Don't look over here. No, look over here.
It's all about virtue signaling.
Well, it's like the World Cup. I don't know whether you'll be watching that, the Football World Cup. All the footballers are wearing the rainbow flags on their socks or on the shoes or whatever. But they're going to Qatar, which I think might have the death penalty if you're gay, or it's got imprisonment if you're gay. But they're not talking about that. But they're doing all the rainbow stuff over here where it's safe, and then they're going to make all the money over there,
Yeah, slaves and indentured servants made the Qatar stadium, and little slave kids are making your shoes, but they're rainbow. So
that makes it all right. Yeah.
Those little kids are allies. Whether they like it or not, God damn it, they are allies.
Oh, I see. Wombat says instead of put a bird on it, it's now stick a rainbow on it.
Yep.
Portlandia. Put a bird on it.
Oh, wow.
But anyways. So speaking of the very illustrious Meghan Markle, it is 25 years since the death of another lady who became a cheap Americanization of the royals.
Wallace.
Diana.
Well,
Oh, I thought you meant
But
Wallace.
that's also a good answer.
Well, there's a story about the night Diana died that I can't tell you on air. You know, when JFK died, and people say, "Where were you when JFK died?" Well, here I could tell you a story about where I was when Diana died, and I'm just going to put that out there to tease you all. I'm not going to actually tell you. It's far too rude to tell anybody.
It's not fair to all the people watching.
They'll live.
So 25 years ago, so when Diana passed, I was like a freshman in high school. I probably like knew about it but didn't even care because, you know.
I remember where I was.
Yeah.
You were a freshman in high school? Wow, you're
Yeah.
I was in 3rd grade.
Who was in 3rd grade? What?
Oh my God, I'd been working for decades by then.
And I know Anne's younger than me, so were you in kindergarten, Anne? When
90,
Well,
was it
she
90,
was
98,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
I was in college. I was at
Yeah.
a frat party. It was a drunken night. And I remember for some reason people were coming through saying Princess Diana just died. And I thought they were talking about Carrie Fisher. I thought they were talking about Princess Leia. And this is why I remember it, because for like an hour while people were talking about this, it was coming up in various rooms of the party. I had the wrong person in my head the whole time, and then somebody was like, "No, we're talking about Princess Diana." I'm like, "Oh." Anyway, that's all. That's why I remember it. But it was a thing in the 90s. We didn't have these phones on us all the time, and so when you heard a bit of news, it was like the town crier or something. Like somebody would come and tell, this just happened. Like somebody who happened to be watching the news.
I was in London when it happened.
Yeah.
I didn't live there at the time, but I was visiting a friend, and it was the most bizarre experience ever. So this is before the funeral. So the announcement was whenever it was, on a Saturday night, I think it was. And on the Sunday and the Monday, we went into London and people were crying in the street. And it was like,
Wow.
It was this weird atmosphere. And her son at the time, he was in a wheelchair. He had Duchenne muscular dystrophy. And as a joke, we went to Green Park, which is where one of the palaces is. And people were queuing around the block to sign like a book of condolences as if they'd met her, And there was a sign saying that if you were in a wheelchair, you could go right to the front and you didn't have to queue. So and her son, none of us liked Princess Diana. So he was like, "Danny, shall we just jump the queue just to piss everybody off?" And he was like, "Yeah, let's do it." But we didn't. We were too scared. Now I would have done it just to write something funny in the book, But yeah, it was a really weird situation. And she was married to the mother of Danny was married to a squaddy in the Welsh Guards, and it was the Welsh Guards that carried Diana's coffin. And it was one of the guys that was in that same barracks was one of the coffin bearers. And for a couple of days before the burial, they had to practice with a lead coffin, so that they could carry it without looking like they were tired. And they had to find 6 squaddies or 8 squaddies that were exactly the same height, had exactly the same eye colour, there's exactly the same type of hair, because they wanted them all to be identical. It was so weird. Very, very weird.
So I went down some rabbit holes with the royal family, and not everybody, but a lot of the things that I read say that she was murdered. And I can't figure out any truth to that. And then, of course, Harry says that she was murdered by the press because she was dating a black man. And that's why him and Meghan left, is because Meghan is black. But I've never found any concrete. I mean, it's I don't know.
Well, it comes from a letter. She wrote a letter, and apparently the butler, what was he called? I can't remember his name now. He went over to America to live off the fact that he was Diana's butler. And in this letter, it said that she was worried they were trying to kill her in a car accident. And I think she pointed the finger at Prince Philip, which is where that came from. And then on the day, there was a few weird things, wasn't there? There was a few weird things that shouldn't have happened. She didn't have her correct security with her. Yes, she was dating Al Fayyad's son, so she was dating a Muslim. And what's weird is a couple of days before she died, she was on a yacht with Dodi Al-Fayed. That's the guy who she was with. And I was in London with this friend, and we were saying, she looks like she's pregnant. And so we would actually said that before she died. So and then there was a rumor afterwards that she was pregnant with his baby, and they couldn't allow that to happen. Whether there's any truth in that, I don't know. But Meghan Markle, though, going back to her, nobody cares that she's black. I think we've talked about this before. I can genuinely say no one in Britain has a problem with her over the colour of her skin. Because if you look at the wedding, people didn't have a problem with her marrying. If they did, they wouldn't have turned up on the day. People wouldn't have watched the show. They would have sort of boycotted it. So she's using that just as a get out of jail card.
Playing the race card.
Exactly.
Well, she's playing the race card just like she's playing the she's best friends with all these celebrities card. Serena Williams, her bestie, she only met the week before, invited to the wedding, and now they're best friends. The Clooneys, she never met them before the wedding, but do come to my wedding because we're so lovely and glamorous.
Would you go to a wedding that you didn't know the people? If it was royalty, would you go to that wedding?
Yes.
Would you?
I'd go to the royal's wedding if I was invited, but I'm not.
I'd be scared of saying something.
Dude, if I met somebody in the grocery store line and they want me to come to their wedding, I wouldn't go. But I randomly run into somebody who's like the Clooneys are going to be at the wedding, or the Queen, or I'd be like, okay, when are you ever going to meet them?
Sure.
I don't even want to go to my friend's wedding.
I like weddings.
I do too. I would go.
I've got a wedding to go to in Nantucket in a few weeks, and I'm freaking terrified.
Why?
It's my boyfriend's family, and I don't know any of these people.
Are they snooty?
No, they all seem like really nice people. I don't know if he's awake yet and watching this, but hi, babe. Anyway, but I mean, it's like they are like she upper class, and I'm just not a fan of weddings in general. I mean, it's nice to, have a fun party and celebrate your love and everything, but the whole pomp and circumstance and ceremony and I don't got time for that. Would it be rude if I knit through this? Do I have to be there for this? Shouldn't this be a private thing? You guys have your ceremony and then the rest of us have the party.
I like weddings, although I do hear you. Sometimes people focus on the wrong things, just like in life. So I've been at some that are beautiful and they do have elements of ceremony and ritual, but they're not overly self-conscious. I guess that's the way to put it. And then you're at those that are overly self-conscious. And unfortunately, I think the wedding industry is just like the wine industry and all these other different industries that want to just take our dollars and trap us. The wedding industry is a huge one where there's just all of this now expectation that people have built in about what they must have at a wedding when you don't. What says you have to have that? Yeah. What says you have to spend $50,000? There's a show called Marriage or Mortgage, which will just open your eyes to all that stuff, because it's the conceit of the show is that there's a marriage planner, a wedding planner, and then there's a mortgage broker or real estate agent, something like that. And so they find these couples who've saved up a nest egg of $50,000, and they bring them in and they meet with the wedding planner, and she shows them what their wedding could be like if they choose to put the $50,000 into the wedding. And then they meet with the real estate agent, and she takes them to see houses. Now, none of these people have owned a home before. They're in apartments or whatever. She takes them to see dream homes that this is what we could do with your $50,000 and put it into this house. And then you wait and see what they choose at the end. And it's freaking amazing. And I'm wrong all the time, or sometimes I'm right, but it's you never know. There was one couple who they've been together 10 years. They have 3 kids. They live in a 1-bedroom apartment or something. They're all on top of each other. And they've saved up all this money, and you're like, oh, they're totally going to pick the dream home. Wonderful. Great. And no, she's like, I need that $50,000 wedding. What?
So, okay. So I didn't spend $50,000 on my first wedding, but I spent too much on it, right?
Mhm.
That
I like the way you
lasted.
say first wedding.
I've been married twice, Neil.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
have
my
you?
first wedding, I
Oh.
spent all the money. I did all the things. We separated 4 years later. It took us 8 years to get divorced. But then I met my husband, who I have my kids with, and we did it for $700 in my mom's house. We had family and friends. We cooked all the food. Let me tell you, it was so much better just doing it to be with the people we wanted to be with and not worrying about any of the other crap.
Yeah.
If
You've
you
done
know,
it both ways.
I've done
I
it
thought you
both
were
ways.
implying that he was about to be
Oh
an
no,
ex.
no, Neil, no. I got married when I was 21, which is always a superb choice, and I don't recommend it to anybody.
What? I got married at 18.
You are the exception, not the rule, Tabitha.
And are you still with him?
Yes, we just celebrated 14 years.
Wow.
Woohoo!
So,
Congratulations.
in true murder knit style, I got married in front of a bunch of people awaiting their sentences at the courthouse. And then we had a party, and that was where we actually got married. But I have 2 weddings, and we did it redneck, low budget. I won my wedding dress off of eBay for $127.
Woohoo!
Nice.
My sister-in-law was bidding on it for me because we were driving, and she won it for me. But I was white trash, redneck. We had the pastor who married us take shots of Crown Royal as he was leaving the wedding.
That's so funny.
So don't come to me for a wedding planning advice because it'll be a
But
little.
see, after having done both, I would much rather do. I mean, we weren't doing shots of Crown Royal, but like we had a friend who was ordained to perform the ceremony. It was just about being happy we were together. And then we got married on the day that the world was supposed to end, when the Mayan calendar ended. Because my husband and I worked together, and all the coworkers would be like, when do you guys get married? When are you getting married? And he used to joke, he said, the day I get married is going to be the day the world ends. And so we really, truly decided to get married. And that's when we got married. He's like,
Oh, what a great choice.
yeah.
Speaking
I
of
mean,
ending
whatever.
of the world, do any of you remember Y2K?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I was in
Ah.
high school.
So it's probably more in your brains then, because Y2K kind of just passed me by, and I kind of just missed it because nothing happened. I was hoping planes would be falling out of the sky and things like that, but it didn't happen.
You didn't buy your jugs of dehydrated water.
Dehydrated water. And Anne was 9 in Y2K. Do you remember it, Anne?
No.
I was younger
No?
than mine. Nope.
You were younger than 9? How old are you?
I'm 29.
Oh, yeah, you were like, oh, yeah. Never mind. Me and my math.
A
That's why I
baby.
teach my kids. As one of our commenters like to tell me, I'm wholly unqualified to be in charge of their education.
Wow.
Whatever.
Tabitha, I love all the yarns behind you.
Thank you.
It's a wall of yarns.
A literal wall of yarn. It spans the whole wall of my bedroom.
No?
You can tell you haven't got cats.
No. Well, I have a Pyrenees, a dog that has he has long hair like a cat that I find everywhere.
There's a Pyrenees at my new job, and she's huge. And I don't know how she lives in the Texas heat. It's like the craziest kind of dog in Texas, but she seems fine. She's panting all the time.
I think as long as they've grown up in it, they're fine. But our Pyrenees is an asshole. She doesn't like the mailman or UPS or. She's a true guard dog, which is fine.
Tiger's hiding right now because of the thunder. Let me show you.
Come here.
He hates storms.
Oh,
He's like-
Boogie. Oh,
He's
Boogie head.
He tries to go to the lowest place in the house possible and hide. He even will hide in the bathroom under the stairs, which he hates that bathroom. But when there's a storm, he'll go in there,
Poor guy.
like seeking shelter. You okay, buddy?
Probably
So is that what I can
bathroom
hear in the
upstairs is safe.
background? That rumbling? Is that your storm?
Yeah. When it
Oh, wow.
rains in Texas, man, it's like buckets. When it finally rains, and we needed the rain. We were dry for a long time, so.
Have you got a leak in the roof as well? Because it sounded like someone was running a bath.
No, it's just you can hear it right out here hitting the sidewalk. But yeah, I love it. I like to sit out on the porch. I love our house has needs a lot of work, obviously. It's going to take a long time, but I love the porch is like my favorite place right now, especially if it's raining. You just sit out there and listen to it.
You have a great porch for knitting on. Oh, so jealous.
We should do a knitting retreat once there's a working bathroom here.
Yeah. And I'll host a murder night. We'll do like a murder dinner.
This would be we could do a murder dinner, knitting night.
Once America lets foreigners with no vaccine thing in, I'll be there.
They're still not doing that?
America, yeah, they won't let anybody in. They'll let Americans in, but they won't let foreigners in without.
Isn't that
vaccine.
crazy? Yeah, I'm getting ready to go. By the way, I could not work the UK into my trip.
Yeah, you're going to Switzerland. You're going to Zug, aren't you?
Yeah.
I know Zug. It's absolutely beautiful.
I can't wait. I've never been. But yeah, I couldn't work UK and it was just going to be too expensive. And I had my flight was with points. So but they're letting, I'm flying into Switzerland. They're not requiring the vaccine to go or to come back.
Oh, do me a favor. When you get there, will you ask someone if it's true that every Swiss adult has to own a gun?
Okay.
That they have to own a gun, unless there's a medical reason why they're not allowed to.
I have never heard that. I will ask.
I can't find out whether it's real or not, but I've heard that that's true. So while you're there, you may as well ask.
I'm putting it here on my notebook, which the previous note was from yesterday. It says shekels.
So was that something that happened in your life yesterday? Because I missed it.
Oh, there's this weird, if you get a super chat that looks like a computerized money and you don't know what the denomination is, that's a shekel. And every time I see it, I would forget and be like, what is that? Is that Bitcoin? What is it? It's shekels.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah, it looks like a logo for something digital. It doesn't look like a money.
Yeah, it's kind of like two
Candra?
ends together, except
Candra or Sandra has said that I should come through Mexico, so I presume she means sneak through the border.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can do whatever you want to if that's how you come in. So whatever.
Would I pass as a Mexican?
Just put a sombrero on, you'll be fine.
Would that be appropriation?
No,
They'd be
I'm
like,
not sure it's.
just imagining
You have
like
to
a
grow your
plastic
mustache
black
a little.
mustache over your mustache now, and you're like, yeah, I'm going.
Put a bit of boot polish on.
I just imagine a comedy sketch with you at the border, and they're like deciding if they need to check your papers. Are you American? And you're sitting there with a cup of tea and you're like eating a biscuit. Eating a biscuit. Yes, I love America.
America's the best. I love hot dogs and baseball.
He tries to speak Spanish but with a British accent, so he's like, sí, me gusta American, sí. Yo quiero pizza.
Speaking of
we're getting
vaccinations,
canceled.
I got some good news, kind of. So some people know my oldest daughter was a dancer in a dance company, and when they found out she wasn't vaxxed, she lost her spot in the dance company, and some other things happened, including CPS mysteriously showing up at my house, called from said dance school. Well, I got a note from one of my friends that said, hey, check out the dance school's webpage. The person who reported me falsely to CPS over my daughter's vaccination status is no longer in charge of the dance school.
Wow, that's good.
What's the CPS here? That's the Crown Prosecution Service. So I'm assuming
Child
it's
Protection Services, but it's a fraud.
Right, but in theory, they're supposed to protect children from bad home situations, although, righteous people like to use it to go against, homeschoolers or unvaccinated or things they don't agree with. They try to weaponize it, so
Yeah.
it's pretty fabulous.
My oldest was supposed to go because she was in a dance company. We were supposed to go to this big city where I live and perform. And they go, well, we'll need your vaccination passports. I said, well, we don't have one, but we'll gladly take a COVID test because the place that they were dancing, you could do a passport or a test. And I said, well, we'll do the we'll do the test. And she goes, oh. And then the next day, my daughter lost her spot in the company, lost her spot at the dance. And a few days later, CPS shows up saying they had a complaint that something happened to my daughter, and it was from the dance school. And I was like, okay.
What absolute jerks.
Yeah. Were you able to like get any recourse? Were you able to?
Well, they lost like $400 a month because I pulled both my girls out and said, kiss my ass. Which isn't, I mean, it's a big chunk of money for some people. It was a lot of money for us to pay every month for our girls to dance. And I don't know if it hurt them or not, but when I saw that on their website that so-and-so is now the new artistic director, I'm like, oh, that's finally, So.
To come after your kids, that's so disgusting.
Yeah.
Well, and for the vaccine too, even now they're coming out saying that it's crap. So for them to come after you because of that is just bananas.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can't accept that though, can they?
Well,
They're kind of still doubling down on it.
Yeah, quietly. By the way, pregnant mothers shouldn't take it, or breastfeeding. That's just quietly changing it. And but you should still take your 49th booster. It's most safe and effective and secure.
And get your 6-month-old vaccinated too. We haven't seen what happens to them, but they're probably fine. It's no issue.
Well, am I right in thinking that it's still
no human testing?
Isn't it still a trial until May 2023?
I'm not sure.
I'm sure the AstraZeneca one is anyway, I think.
I know they said they're not going to be able to give us any longitudinal studies. Who was it? Pfizer said they didn't want to release any of their tests or data for, it was like 50 years or something crazy.
Oh, that's right.
It was
75 years or
75,
something.
and then a judge said they had to, and then they're like slowly leaking out. Oh yeah, by the way.
Yeah.
And the paperwork is badly thrown together, and you're like, you're really burying this.
Not to bring the chat down, but that was my happy news today, which isn't really happy. It's kind of shitty, but.
Well, I've got some happy news.
I'm glad.
Spill
As we
it.
speak, BS Graphic Design, who's in the chat, I've noticed a few messages. So hi, BS. She's finishing off the layout of issue 4 of Blocked, which I'm hoping, touch wood, will be out tomorrow.
Woohoo!
So, but it might be the day after. We don't know yet. So just in case, today or the day after. Sorry, tomorrow or the day after.
I got to get my shit together and write you those articles.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm supposed to write one too.
I've been waiting for DK's article for how long? Since January?
Since it started, I have said I would write an article, and I never do it. So
I don't
it is
practice
what it
with
is.
enough, I don't think.
I'll tell you a little bit about So I believe that the food industry is to blame a lot for what happened in the knitting wars, because all of these woke SJW knitters eat shit food, and it makes them go mentally ill. So now that I've said it publicly, I have to do it, right, Neil?
Yes.
Or you could be me and say it publicly and just
That's
keep
the
not
entire
doing it.
premise
So
of
whatever. That's a really interesting idea, Tabitha, though, like for real.
But
They're
I mean,
all
like,
on the
Something in that.
vegan train.
yeah, well, or they eat junk food, and they're all, not all, I mean, because Gary obviously is not obese, but a lot of the women who are in this are morbidly obese. They eat shit food all day. They sit around and knit, and they don't do anything. And I really think a lot of it is mental health issue. I mean, they're all crazy, but I think it's a legitimate thing. I mean, they're all eating their. My house follows the Weston A. Price diet, and it's traditional food. It's real butter, no seed oils. It's all lard and tallow. And a lot of our health problems and mental health problems, especially, is because people don't get enough real good fat in their body. And so I think that this is a huge issue. So, yeah.
Yeah, I noticed when I'm just going to jump in enthusiastically. I went keto a few years ago, and I noticed that once I cut carbs and got more good fats into my body, that so much freaking cleared up that I had just taken things for granted that okay, you know, at the time I was a dog walker and I had to take 2 a leave every morning just to like be able to climb subway stairs and get to work. And I just assumed like, okay, well, you're in your 30s now. That's just what happens. And, you know, I had like mild depression happening, and, you know, I had skin issues, and like my period was all screwed up and stuff. And then I started keto, and all this stuff just magically cleared up. And I was like,
So much. Yeah.
yeah, that
Has
just
to
like
do with our
magically
diet.
happened. Yeah.
My housemate, who is like a sister to me, she's a bodybuilder and fitness instructor, and when she first moved in with us, she was like looking at some of the stuff we were eating and drinking, and just we made a lot of changes. Like,
She's like, no.
yeah, like Anthony used to be on, and these things also that you come to think of as like better for you, right? Like he was on almond milk instead of real like whole milk, and she's like, no, almond milk has all of this stuff. You know, she's going through everything. Stevia she didn't like. She's like, no, just use raw sugar. Like, why are you taking all these things to try and approximate the real thing that's good for you? That's her opinion. I am not a doctor or a nutritionist. I'm just saying. But so,
Well, I am.
yeah. Okay, good. I'm just, but yeah, we started drinking whole milk. And then when we can get it, raw milk. For a while, she was working at a farm and we got raw milk, and I had never had it before. It's amazing. It's like creamy and it's good. But yeah, a lot of these things that I think they teach us, like, oh, this is better. This is the healthy. This is the diet version. This is the such and such. And they're like stripping out all the nutrients.
You can't make money off of butter. You can't make money off of meat. You can't make money off of milk. You know, even if we used to drink raw milk, but it's $18 a gallon now where I live, and we just can't. I mean, and we go through 4 gallons of milk a week with all my kids, so there's no way I can afford raw milk anymore. But still, good old conventional whole milk from the store is a hell of a lot better than almond milk, but there's no profit in it. That's why they push all this fake processed stuff, because they can make money off of it.
Yeah. Did you see that meme? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go on. No, go on.
Well, I may have already talked about this meme. I can't remember. This show is so fun because it just feels like hanging out with friends. I'm like, did we talk about this meme I saw recently that made me laugh for days? It was, it says like, God, what are they doing down there? And then the angel says, they're making milk from almonds. And God's like, I gave them like 8 animals to get milk from. What? And then God's just like, what? Anyway, it just cracked me up. They're making milk from almonds.
The funniest thing about that is like it's a picture of Jesus looking like he's just had it with everybody's shit, like for real, like just like, oh
like,
my.
y'all making grease milk down there? What?
Reinventing the wheel.
Well, didn't Jordan Peterson, wasn't it his daughter that managed to cure all of her illnesses by only eating beef?
They are carnivore, and I'm carnivore too, but I drink coffee and I cheat a lot.
Lion diet.
But I was wondering whether that was why there's a big war against beef at the moment, isn't there? They don't seem to care about chicken or lamb as much, but they definitely don't want us eating beef. And maybe there's something in beef that we absolutely can't live without.
Yeah.
While this isn't like a scientific or like a huge thing with me, but it's the same thing with Jesus looking down and why are you doing this milk? It's like God loves a barbecue. You know, when Moses sacrificed the animals, it said a sweet smell went up to heaven. And it could be, yes, that he was obedient in the sacrifice and all of that theological sense that makes sense. But there's a lot of beef cooking in the old Israel temple. So clearly that has some.
God was into a barbecue, okay, people? Let's just have that.
There
was no soy chicken back then.
Like that good sizzle smell. Yeah.
Do you guys know why Kellogg's cereal was invented?
Yes.
Why?
That story is just so freaking bizarre.
The people who invented the Kellogg's cereal did it because they believed that meat made everybody lustful and sexual, and they didn't want people to masturbate. So the Seventh-day Adventists bankrolled Kellogg's cereal.
What?
Well, obviously the answer is cornflakes.
But without milk.
But wasn't there like something creepy with the founder of Cornflakes too in the hospital he was running? That there was something.
Yeah, they were using the this is probably gonna get you guys in trouble. Weren't they doing like they were treating women with orgasms to make them feel better?
Oh, you're hysterical. Here, have this bizarre wooden vibrator.
Anyway, sorry, you're probably gonna ruin your chat now, and everybody's gonna hate you.
Anyway,
You sure you want me on your show, Carrie, on Friday?
Yes.
you just
Well, we're pre-recording, so I can edit out all the Kellogg talk. I'm just kidding.
rules you didn't know.
No, I'm
that
kidding.
you needed. Like,
This is
and
totally
do
up my
not
alley,
mention
though.
Kellogg's.
I had no
Definitely not
idea.
a
Yeah,
sponsor.
the people behind Kellogg are 7-Day Adventists, and they invented Kellogg's, or they invented cornflakes because they believe that meat and bacon and lard gave people a high libido, which is true. It does. If you eat whole foods, then you're going to act normal and act like a human, and you're going to have a normal libido. And so that was their guys behind cornflakes, because they thought people masturbated too much because they ate bacon and eggs.
Wow, look at this article. You're right.
I know. Welcome to my TED
I
Talk.
think there was a movie made about it. I
There
heard
was.
someone talk about it. What?
Wasn't it Anthony Hopkins? I
Yes.
think. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, Anthony
real?
Hopkins played
Welcome
Dr.
to
Kell.
Wellville.
Yeah.
Or
That's
the
it.
road,
Yeah.
to, the
Wow.
road to Wellville. Do not watch if you have kids in the same room. It's a good movie, though.
Gosh.
It's-
Guys, kill me. No, but I think, and once again, as Tabitha said, we are not any sort of professional anything. We just pretend. But yeah,
I have
there's
a
got to
full
be a
bookcase.
reason.
You see this? Haven't read these, just like everyone else on TV. I have a bookcase. I have a wingback chair. There's people golfing on it. I'm super profesh. Just saying.
Okay, Anne. But yeah, there's got to be something to all of this. We want everybody to like eat this bizarre stuff, and I am by no means a Tabitha at all. But like I worked
Maybe.
with a woman who was super overweight who always drank Diet Coke because Diet Coke makes your body want sugar, and then it like gets it all ready to have sugar, and then there's no sugar and it messes you up. So like,
Yeah.
you know, just go for the real thing. If you're gonna
And-
have a Coke, just drink a freaking Coke. If you're gonna,
Every fat person I know, including myself, doesn't have sugar. We all cut sugar out of our diets years ago and then got fat.
Do you have?
Really?
Do you eat a lot of vegetable oil, like canola oil, and soybean oil, and do you have a lot of that? in your
Soybean
food?
oil?
Yes.
No, not now. Maybe years ago. Now I have butter and ghee and things like that. Or years ago, I would have had it.
There are studies. I work closely with the Dr. Baker, Sean Baker, who's a famous doctor and carnivore person, and I know him on an internet level, but I do know him and talk to him. And there are studies coming out now to where it's not. Yes, sugar is not good for you, but you know, it's fine. And you know, if you have a homemade cookie that has sugar, there's nothing wrong with that. The issue that they're finding now is that it's vegetable oil that's causing all of these diseases. And I understand, I know some people who are in this chat and who watch this show that are, you know, they farm soybean oil and I don't fault them at all for what they do. It's the government that fucked everything up. So I don't want people to feel like I'm attacking them when I say don't eat vegetable oil. Vegetable oil has a place. It can run cars. You can run a diesel engine on vegetable oil and be just fine. And that's a renewable resource. My husband's a diesel mechanic. I do know what I'm talking about. But the reason why they put it in food is because they had extra oil. They had extra. I think it was Crisco is a byproduct of like cotton or something. And they couldn't sell it anymore. And they have this byproduct. Well, we'll put it in food. It's cheap. It's affordable. But there's studies coming out now. Long story short, there are studies coming out now that say that yes, you shouldn't have a lot of sugar, but it's really vegetable oil. It's canola oil. It's soybean oil. It's all this oil that they put in to take out the fat that's causing health issues. So a lot of times people say, well, I don't have sugar. I don't have this, but they still are not healthy. And it's because they have vegetable oil in their diet.
Wow.
it's interesting. Diana wanted to know if Crisco was made to lubricate machinery. So I don't know.
We have a product called margarine. Do you have this, margarine?
Yes.
Yeah, that's awful.
And that was invented by the French to feed chickens or ducks, but they wouldn't eat it. And apparently they then found out that it wasn't good enough for them. And then they started to sell it to the British as an alternative to butter.
And they got Fabio to market it, right?
I
Acting
don't
it's
know.
not butter.
Yes. And apparently, if you guys want a song about it, Elizabeth has written one about margarine being evil. So there you go. We're all set.
And if you want a yarn about it, I have a yarn called Margarinalized. So
Oh, that's
There you go.
hilarious.
I didn't know there were so many margarine opinions around besides, yeah, it's not great. You're like, no, this is serious. Margarine is awful.
So I might jump off if my husband is messaging me and we haven't been able to speak since he's been abroad. So I might, if he calls while I'm on, just know that's why I'm stepping away, but I won't be long.
Absolutely.
Also, he just messaged me some pictures of yarn shops in Switzerland to send you guys.
nice.
So good.
Can we put them on the screen?
Nobody knows
Yeah.
how to except you. You know how to.
Oh yeah.
So can you see a box at the bottom, Kerry, saying share?
Yep. Here we go.
If you
Why
click
don't
on
I
share,
have it?
and then upload if you've saved it onto your device.
Can I just point out real quick that my fella's in the chat and his name is Technothor? Everybody say hi.
Technothor.
Technothor. Everybody say hi to Technothor.
Does he have long blonde hair like Thor?
He has long hair. It's like a dark blonde.
Okay,
Oh,
so
hello,
I
Tiffany.
shared it. So now one of the admins has to go
Let me
down to
see.
that little window at the
I
bottom.
got
and
it.
hit- There you go.
I got it.
That's one of
Ah.
them.
Oh, that's pretty.
Yeah, he sent me 3 pictures of this shop, but we'll just put up one because they're pretty similar.
It's
He was
prettier
like,
than
No,
our
they'll all be
yarn
different.
shop.
We need to see them all.
Oh, okay.
Neil.
There might be one ball of yarn different.
No. Give me the pictures.
So I was going to ask why you were going abroad, and that's why, because your husband's there?
Yeah, so he's been doing shows. He and his band played at a festival in Switzerland, and they've been playing around Zug. And now he's in Amsterdam today. He has a show in Amsterdam. I believe it's tonight, maybe tomorrow night. And then anyway, he's going back to Switzerland. I'm going to fly in, and then we're going to go to Germany. He has some shows in Germany. If there's anybody watching your channel who wants to come hang out in Germany, if you're in Germany, I'll be there. And you can go to the Deprogrammed YouTube page on the community tab. I put a thing with all of his dates. So you can come see us.
Cool.
But yeah, he used to travel. He used to play every summer. He would go to do shows in Germany, Switzerland, France, I think once, Spain. But then with COVID, this is the first time he's been back in 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, good for you. That's awesome.
Yeah, I've been to Europe. I've never been to Switzerland or Germany, so I'm excited.
Nice.
My dad lived in Germany for a long time, so I think he's excited I'm going to.
That's cool.
Was your dad in a squaddy? Was he in the army?
He's in the army, yeah.
Yeah. Was he in Berlin or whereabouts?
No, oh gosh, he told me the name of the place. I forget, but it wasn't Berlin. I think
Was
it
it a
starts with
small town or was it a big city?
it's a small town. It starts with an M, I think. And
It wasn't Garmisch, was it?
oh, maybe,
Garmisch-Partenkirchen?
I don't know. I'll text him.
Sounds very German. Like, that sounds like the Swedish chef level of German.
Yeah,
This is
Because this
called-
is I lived there for a while.
like,
And
oh,
every one of your family, Kerry, has been somewhere I've been.
That did sound like the Swedish chef.
It's right on the border in Bavaria with Austria, I think, or Switzerland. Either Austria or Switzerland. It's on the border.
Okay,
And there's a big American army base there.
I'll have to find out. My husband lived in Germany for a long time too, and I'm not exactly sure where. He lived in Germany, and I think he was teaching English there he speaks German, so that'll be handy while we're there.
Elizabeth has said Neil is fancy. No, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm
but
not fancy at all.
it's the accent. When you say things, it doesn't matter what you're saying. It makes it sound fancier than when we say them. It's just how it is.
Totally sounds fancy.
But you do know that I've got a really sort of redneck accent here, don't you? You know that I am, a Londoner would think I was a complete oik.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. I've got a generic Manchester accent, which is like we're considered backwards, People
Not
think
to
we're
us.
stupid.
No, we're over here like, oh, he sounds very proper and sophisticated.
And then we talk to him and we realize it's all just a facade, so it's okay.
What do you guys think about the American accents? And be honest, because I overheard some people once. I was in Italy, and at the next table over, like my friend and I were talking, having a conversation. Then there was like, I don't know, some French people having a conversation. There were lots of different languages around us. And then I heard these people, these Brits at a table near us talking about us. And the woman was like saying that the American accent is the most brutish of all accents. Like she was really just giving it to us.
That's
I think
rough.
a lot of people
As if you couldn't
don't...
understand her, as if it's the Italians at the next
Yeah.
table, and you're like, oh, there must be a language barrier between me, the Brit, and they, the Americans. Like, what?
I think most Brits don't understand that there's any difference. I think most people think that the American accent is just one thing. Whereas if you've been to America or, watched TV, you know that every area has its own accent. I think
You want to hear a crazy freaking accent? Come to Queens and listen to my neighbors. They're like your stereotypical boppity boopity Italian Americans, and
is
they
it like
just
the Christopher Walken accent? Is that a Queen's accent?
Oh no, Christopher Walken is an accent unto himself. Like that's just the Christopher Walken accent. But I mean, I'm talking like, yeah, I went to go get coffee and then I saw this bitch and I was like, don't you talk to my kids that way, blah blah blah. And like it's abrasive. It's like it's almost like a weapon unto itself. It's like you hear a Queen's accent and you're not from Queens and you're like, is she angry? Like all the time.
Well, I think that's the issue that some Brits have. Is it's not the accent, it's the loudness. So some Americans are very, very loud, and that isn't a criticism; it's just an observation. And whereas in Britain we always speak very quietly, and we don't want anyone to hear what we're saying when we're out in public, and we don't when we're on the telephone we whisper down the telephone because we don't want anyone to hear. And if someone's on the bus or on the train and they're talking,
wide distances.
Yeah, we hate it. It's one of the things like, oh, how could they do that? They need to be, a bit more dignified.
I agree.
I've just offended everyone now, haven't I? Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll go. I'll go. Okay.
Well, I wanted to get
it
up
was nice
to that.
knowing you.
I wanted to get up to that table. When I left, I didn't. I would do this now. I didn't back then, but I would have liked to have walked by and been like, I know we talk funny, but thanks for sitting next to us. But we can understand you.
I'm surprised they were that rude, though. Because normally British people would do anything rather than be rude, so it's quite shocking that they did that.
Oh, we can't understand you unless you're from Scotland. Then we need subtitles.
Well, we need subtitles for Scottish people as well. So yeah. Oh, speaking of accents, Tina. So your name of your yarn business is Welsh.
Yes.
So I need to get you to say it in a Welsh accent.
Yes. Okay. I don't know what a Welsh accent sounds like.
Okay, it's very hard to do, but the only way I can do it, I have to say this one phrase first, which is from a kids' TV show called Ivor the Engine. So if I say, hello, Mr. Dyfed, and then I say the name of your shop, which is Awenid, then that's Welsh. Yeah.
Hello, Mr.
If there's any
Dyfed.
Welsh people, I'm sorry. So it's very sing-song. You have to sort of sing it. Awenid.
Awenid yarn and fiber.
Yeah, that's it.
Is that
I think you in fact a Swedish chef.
Yeah. 30.
Yeah, there was a little bit of that in there.
Isn't the longest town name in the world in Wales?
Don't ask me. I don't know how you say it, but yes.
Yeah, I saw it. Incidentally, it was like on a true crime show. I saw it once, and it was the town of blah, 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 and there's like
Yeah,
no vowels.
It's
and
something
just
like clang gilly goggy go at the end. It's something like that. But
All right.
Like,
I was reading a book that referenced a Welsh song, so I'm like, oh, I'll just pull it up. I'll just pull up the lyrics. I'm just like, I'm listening to the song and I'm looking at the lyrics. I'm like, what you're saying does not match these words at all. Well, like a Wened, it's like there's so many D's and Y's and double F's and
double
like
L. Double L.
double
is
L.
plus
And it's
sound.
like I don't understand. My brain cannot comprehend what I'm looking at right now.
The
It's
best
just
Welsh word I know is the word for a microwave. So are you ready for this? It's just brilliant. All microwaves should be called this. Pippity pop.
Oh, that's
shut up.
Perfect.
a great word.
Oh, no, sorry. Poppity pip. Sorry. It's either
Pop-
pippity pop or poppity pip. It's one or the other. I can't remember.
You're both glorious.
Oh man.
Well, I don't own one either way, but now I feel like I need to have one just to say. I'm going to
Tabitha, are you also anti-microwave?
I do not own a microwave.
You don't have a microwave. Wow.
I'm not anti-microwave. So honestly, I mean, the crunchy person be like, yeah, microwaves are evil. I don't have the kitchen space for one.
No, me neither.
But I don't. I mean,
Get into your food, it's terrible.
I haven't had a microwave in over 6 years, so I'm not missing anything. I can make popcorn on the stove. I heat up everything on the stove, anyways. So.
Somebody called
Yeah.
Katie lived in Llangollen for a time, so I'm in trouble, I think.
Yeah. Yes. Say that again.
Llangollen.
See, that's
So
just
double
not
L.
how words are supposed to be.
Double L is pronounced like cl. So
But it's
Llangollen.
not. Those are two L's.
Except for the other two L's. So you see, there's two sets of two L's, isn't there? So the first one is cl, the second one is just L's. So Llangollen.
So the name Llewellyn is actually Llewellyn?
Yes, I think it depends on whether you're on the English side of the border or on the Welsh side of the border.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah, 'cause I would say Llewellyn.
We need to know about. Like,
Yeah.
That's why
you were
everyone
slightly
leaves
wrong.
Wales alone and
Popty
forgets.
ping. That's it. Popty ping.
Poppy ping for a microwave.
Sorry, I got it slightly wrong. I knew it was something like that.
Ping.
Yeah, because popty is actually the word for a standard oven, and ping is obviously the noise that the microwave makes. So that's why it's a popty ping. Well, we've got some great laws actually in the UK. So if you're a Welsh person or a Welshman and you're caught outside of the walls of Chester, you're allowed to be murdered. And that's, yeah. So after midnight, I think, if you're outside of the walls of Chester after midnight, then an English person is allowed to kill you. And that's still on the books. Along with every Englishman has to practice archery for an hour a day. So I'm guilty. I haven't.
What do you have to practice for an hour a day?
Archery, bow and arrows.
I was reading a comment. I just didn't hear you.
That's crazy.
Oh man.
So
It's
Neil,
weird. Well, sorry. Go on. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Visual. Oh, you're saying? I was
No,
going to
go on. Go on. It's all right.
No, I was just going to say that, because we went on a whole rabbit trail, train of thought together, train with rabbits. Is there anything else in your upcoming magazine that you want to talk about?
Oh, well, we could talk about Tom Daly. Do you all know Tom Daly?
Yes.
I don't.
So Tom Daly
Did he make
is...
fetuses?
Yes, he did. Yes, but I don't talk about that in the article. I'm sorry, I missed that one.
Darn.
Yeah, he's a diver. He's an Olympic diver. Very good. He's won gold quite a few times. Everybody seems to like him. We've followed him. Well, I say followed him. We've known of him since he was a young boy doing diving. His father died when he was quite young, so people kind of warmed to him even more. Then he came out as gay, which everyone was surprised about. And then the latest thing is he's a knitter. And he's kind of become a brilliant knitter overnight. So he's one of those people that when he does anything, he has to do it like the best, better than anybody else, you know. And Wool and the gang have teamed up with him and do a lot of stuff with him. Anyway, he did a documentary about the countries in the Commonwealth that still have what he called anti-gay laws, and spread a load of misinformation. And then at the end of it said that he was ashamed to be British. So I've written a bit of like a piece sort of as a rebuttal with some of the facts about the laws that were in place, because what he says is completely nonsense. It doesn't, it doesn't stand up to scrutiny at all. So yes, Wombat, he was knitting willy warmers. And incidentally, this isn't in the magazine, but a guy, the guy recently with Lawrence Fox that was arrested for sharing a meme?
Yeah.
Harry Miller?
The reason,
Or the other guy?
It might be the other guy, but it was that particular thing with the Nazi gay pride flag. He was in trouble because that was his third non-crime offence. His second non-crime offence was sharing a picture
Brady.
of Tom.
Sorry.
Yes, that's in Brady, yeah. The second offence was him sharing Tom Daly's photograph holding the willy warmers next to his face. And underneath, I think he said, "Oh, it's a willy warmer." And he was called in by the police for being homophobic, for just saying it was a willy warmer. And it is actually a willy warmer because there's no other way. Yeah,
I'm following this as best I can, and I just looked him up, and there's lots of pictures of him knitting and some beautiful sweaters and stuff. What is a willy warmer? Is that what I think it is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's sort of a knitted or a crocheted cock and ball cover.
It's a cock sock.
Yeah.
Yeah. For it.
Do people actually wear those?
No.
Okay.
Well, maybe I'm missing out because I've never, but and I could make one, so maybe I should.
Can I just really quick say hi to Carlin because she's in the chat right now?
Oh,
imitating me?
she is. Yes.
So, hi, Carlin. We see you.
All right.
She likes
Moving
following
on.
you around.
Okay, she didn't know that you knitted.
Oh, well, if you can call it that.
We are proud of you and your efforts. Don't
Jackie,
worry.
you're on the board. You are.
Yeah,
you have a
hey,
client.
I didn't bring up the leaderboard. Do we want to talk about it?
Yeah.
Everybody here is on it already, but that's okay.
A Peter Heater. Somebody said.
So
Oh, God.
yeah. Okay. Well, thanks, guys. Yeah, so we were trying to figure out how to get Tabitha out of that top spot, but as of now,
Yeah.
nobody.
It's not going to happen this year, is it?
Hey, I'm bringing my mom on. She doesn't want me to. She's scared. Tabitha's running scared because I said I was going to bring my mom on.
Well,
I've
DK's
seen
in danger. If you look, DK's in a very precarious position there.
Yeah. No, there's a whole bunch of us right in a row.
I see Marie on there.
Yeah,
Yeah, she was on
or
last time.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I've been practicing, by the way.
Yeah, I
Because
think
I
we
can't
need
bear
to do
being-
some more practicing,
Yeah.
and we'll have some rematches for those of us that are all right there in the same little clump. See if we can do something.
Do we need to make this more equitable for ourselves by giving Tabitha a handicap?
Oh,
Breaking a wrist.
that's an idea.
Equity.
Let's give her 30 seconds while the rest of us get a minute and see what she can do.
That's true social justice.
Right.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
there was so we're trying to get the famous artist Bertie Rose on. She said she couldn't make it this week, but perhaps next time. And she doesn't know how to knit at all. Not to throw you under the bus, Bertie. But Neil sent her yarn and needles, so that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have
I even knitted 20 rows for her so that she had something to work with, because you know what it's like if you've only got one row of knitting, it's hard.
Oh yeah,
isn't
and
it?
you don't know what you're doing, and then
Yeah.
that first row is always like too stiff anyway to work with. It's well, not too stiff, but when you're new, it's so hard.
Well, I have to admit something though. I didn't send her the nicest yarn. I sent her yarn that I got years ago from Aldi. Do you have the store Aldi in America?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
we
they
do
do
now.
yarn.
There's still yarn there?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. It's not the greatest.
It's not very good. I got
No.
some. It was like a chunky, and it was so like dense that you would knit with it, and it would like your whole project was just like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like it couldn't hold its shape because it was too.
It feels like the kind of thing you'd make a carpet out of, doesn't it?
Yeah, I could probably make some rugs with it. Bath mat, something.
Yeah, so I've been feeling guilty because maybe I should have sent her some of Tina's yarn, but then it's like, no,
No,
for
not
me.
to practice on.
No.
This is probably Walmart.
Oh, I need
yarn.
to ask you something, Tina. This probably isn't the time, but I got the is it the Goddess base?
Triple goddess, yeah.
Now it says that it's a sock yarn, but
You don't
it's
have to
100%.
use it for socks. I mean,
But I was going to say, is it? Could you make socks because it's 100% merino, isn't it? So I was just wondering
you could
it
if you
would
wanted
be-
to.
Right, so it'd wear well enough, would it?
Probably. I mean, I probably wouldn't. I'd use something with nylon in it for socks,
Right.
just because.
Because I'm going to show this again, by the way, because I'm showing off now. So this is my yarn. This is literally Knitler.
And that's the
and-
only skein in the world I've ever made.
Yeah, nobody else's yarn matters. This is my yarn. So I need some ideas as to what I can make with it. It's fingering weight, and it's about 490 yards or
Yards.
490 meters. I forget.
Yards.
So, and Tina made it for me, which is lovely. Thank you.
You're
Oh,
quite
hold it up again, Neil. I just made you big so everybody can see it. There you go.
I'm already big, DK. You know?
It took me a minute to figure out how to make you the main guy, though. I always forget how to do it.
So it's different shades of blue, which is my favorite color.
Well, yeah, I tried to match your background because I know you have like that blue background, and then you have like
Yeah.
the blue boxes off to the side. So I was like, oh, I think he likes those colors, so I'll just use those colors.
And
Oh, you guys, Maria's here.
Maria, I love you.
Woo,
This wall of yarn is all your yarn.
Maria Tuscan. Ah.
Hey, Maria.
Where Maria needs to get on your leaderboard.
I know.
Nope,
Yeah,
she's
she's
probably
free
really
now.
fast.
Can she come on now?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Someone said I should make a murder knit shawl.
you should.
Mm.
Every time anybody in any of our chats asks what to make, Tabitha's answer is a murder in his shawl.
The best shawl in the world, of course.
Is one skein enough, or do I need a little bit extra?
No, one skein's enough. It's really not a pattern, it's a recipe. You can use any weight, any size needles, any amount. You just cast on and knit it.
Right.
Just
I
no
think I will.
margarine in that recipe.
No.
No vegetable oils.
No
So the only
vegetables.
fat is what I bring to it, isn't it?
Yeah.
But this is all animal fat. 100%.
But definitely. And okay, Tina, I am mega impressed. I don't know how you do it, but it is something very particular to you, how you have the little tiny like dashes of lighter color in the midst of the dark.
It's
Like,
tie
that
dye.
is so cool. Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. I do a base color, and then I tie it off, and then do the other colors on top. So, yeah.
There
She's
you
done a
go.
video, haven't you, Tina? A really good one, actually, on how to do it.
I have more coming. I haven't
Yeah.
edited the footage yet. I got super popular during the last week when I had that sale, and so I'm like playing catch up with stuff. But I have a couple hours, I think, of footage actually of me working. So I have.
Well, I know that somebody said that that you need Ripaverse colors, and you're like, I'm behind.
I'm like,
I don't know who this is.
Yeah, what? Who?
Oh, yeah, we need to design something, don't we, Anne? Would people be interested in Ripaverse knitting patterns? Would
I
people
don't
want them?
know. I mean, because like when we were talking back and forth, I'm like, well, I could do the logo. I don't know if that would be any problem with copyright, but also everyone would be like, Intarsia, Anne, stop that crap. I don't want to make that.
I wrote to the guy, but he hasn't responded because I wanted to know whether he would have a problem with it, if we used his logo and everything, but he hasn't. He's too busy.
Yeah, well, he's too busy hand cramping from signing all those comic books. I think
It's too big now.
I think he's almost at 3.5 million, like very
Wow.
nearly, if not there already.
Damn.
Is that more than like Marvel and DC sell for their comics?
It is,
isn't it?
from what I've seen from the numbers, that is double the best-selling comic book of last year. So that's sales for the entire year.
And no one's even
Amazing.
seen it yet. That's the crazy thing, isn't it?
I know.
Can you imagine if it's really shit?
I know. We'd all be like, Eric, you done lied.
There'll be room for improvement. People,
Eric.
Who else
Number-
reads comics here then? Because I know Kerry, you do, don't you? Anne does. Do you read
I
comics?
used to read a lot of the Walking Dead before it was a TV show. That was my favorite. But I like the darker. I also read like the comic book version of Stephen King's The Stand was really good. But it was really kind of niche, the ones that I read.
Yeah, because I used to be really into it until it started getting woke, which would have been probably, well, really, it's always been woke, hasn't it? But really woke, which would have been about 10, 15 years ago. And I don't read them anymore now.
Yeah, I only read the occasional one, except for recently where I've went back and bought some of the old Daredevil comic books, which are amazing.
Frank Miller?
Like, no,
Frank Miller?
I haven't gotten that far yet. This is like beginning.
They're the best.
That's like you're going to leave your law practice, so you go on a boat. That our dashing hero, but now the boat is captured by pirates, and now they're on this island, and there's this like saber-toothed tiger, and I'm like flipping through, what am I reading? And also, this is the best thing I've ever seen. Later, I know it's going to get dark, and we're going to get into moral questions, and I love that crap. That's all going to be great. But right now, I'm like, how is your law practice surviving? This is what? Do you have any clients? Anyways, it's fun though.
Yeah, if you can get the Frank Miller ones, they were the definitive Daredevil. Absolutely fantastic.
I know.
It's,
I have to save up my shekels, but I'll get there eventually.
Your moolah.
But,
Wombat's
Yeah.
bringing a husband in. He's an expert on comics.
Oh no.
We'll all have to go
I
don't
quiet
know.
now.
The only thing I know is I've got a 9-year-old that reads some graphic comics now, so I'm starting to like graphic novels. It's not quite the same.
Oh, check them before you let her read them.
Yeah, I will.
Some graphic novels are really explicit.
Well,
My girls like that manga stuff, and I have to pre-read it because I'm like, oh, why is this in the kids section?
everything has to be pre-read nowadays. I was
Yeah.
talking to my husband about it, and because they love graphic novels so much, there's a one with 2 guys, and it's about, I wish I could remember the name of it, but it's a comic about 2 guys that are dating, and it's just really, I was telling him, like, especially as the kids get into like chapter books and stuff, I'm gonna have to read everything, because there was something I was looking at in the bookstore one day for my niece, and it was like this unicorn that goes by they them, and I'm like, nope, moving on. Like, why does a unicorn need to be non-binary? Just out of curiosity. Like, pretty
They've
sure
really
that-
tried to co-opt the unicorn,
Oh yeah.
like the rainbow. You know, it's sort of this.
Well, you know
thing
where the
now.
unicorn originated, don't you? I think Kerry probably knows. Do you know where
No, I don't actually.
Okay, you ready for this? Are you ready for the atheist teaching all you Christians a lesson
Yeah.
in theology? The unicorn was mentioned after the flood. So the unicorn was drowned in the flood. But that's all that was ever mentioned. So that is where the whole thing of the unicorn comes from. Just
Where
that
was it
one line.
mentioned?
In the
I think
book
that's
of
mentioned in the book of Job.
is it Genesis where Noah's Ark is? Which one's Noah's Ark?
Genesis is no.
Genesis
it's
is
one
Noah's
line.
Ark, but I think the unicorn is mentioned in the book of Job.
Oh, is it? Okay. I'll stand corrected because I
they
just
actually
know it's
say-
in the Bible.
Do they say unicorn, or do they talk about like the large creatures and like the what people say dinosaurs are?
They say
think it just
unicorn,
mentions
but I
unicorn,
don't know
I think.
what the root word is. So
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
wow.
this wombat.
So
That's
it is
the only
interesting, though,
reference
isn't
I
it?
have.
That the 2 things that have been completely sort of taken over in terms of sex and sexuality are things that are from the Bible. So there's definitely a reason for that, I think.
Because it's evil and of the devil.
Yeah, because they didn't choose is it the behemoth? That's in the Bible, isn't it, as well? But they haven't chosen that one because it's not something, that's supposed to be cute and cuddly.
It doesn't sound fabulous either.
Well, nobody knows what a unicorn was. It could have been something hideous, couldn't it? Nobody knows.
It could have been. But, heaven forbid that we have anything that is, childish and joyful, and let's just take it and sexualize all of it and make it inappropriate for our kids.
Sex sells.
This is so interesting. I'm looking this up. It says, and now I don't speak Hebrew. I didn't even know what shekels were. Okay. It says a reem, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, REEM, is an animal mentioned 9 times in the Hebrew Bible. It has been translated as unicorn in the King James Version, and in some Christian Bible translations as oryx, which is accepted as a reference in the modern Hebrew, or as wild ox, wild bull, buffalo, or rhinoceros. But yeah, the King James uses unicorn. That's so, I had no idea. Thank you, Neil.
Me neither.
You're welcome, my children. My next sermon will
Bible
be
stories with Neil.
Oh God.
I'll be struck down by lightning now.
I don't think you got it wrong.
It's fine. Here, this Dr. Carlin, wrong one. Deplorable shirts are only available sometimes, and not right now is not one of them. Sorry. If they come back up, they'll be in my store. People ask about my shirts all the time. I did them last summer. It was a pain in my butt. I don't know that I'll ever do them again. So we'll see. But
So there are 2 Carlins in the chat.
There's
Yeah, I
a
don't
lot
know
of
what's going on.
sock puppets there. Yeah.
yeah.
Ah.
But I just
Amazing.
figured
It's
I'd
like we
answer
talked
that
about this
question because
earlier.
I like it when people want to buy my stuff. So even if they were just being, a jerk, I will mention. I
Just
have
like
some
how hate
merchandise.
views are views. And you're like, hey.
Hey, buy
I'll
my
take your
stuff. Somebody was I messed up my thing. When I was making my Life Wins hat, somebody told me they wanted to buy it so they could light it on fire, and I told them I didn't care what they did with it after they paid me for it, and then they went away. Because
Could you be bothered? Could you be bothered to hate somebody or something so much to do that?
dude, if you want to spend $60 on one of my hand knit things and light it on fire, I guess that's on you.
Wow.
I don't know.
I too.
Uh-oh, Anne's gone.
Oh, sorry.
Wow, that's a lot
Where's-
of water I can hear.
Some of that is from the rain here. But hold on, let me
Wow.
mute. Tell me if you can.
It's making me want to go to the loo.
Tell me if you can still hear it. Hold on.
I can still hear it.
So it's not just mine. Because I hear the rain around me, but I also hear water from someone else.
Come on, own up. Who is it?
I have a fan on. Is it?
It's probably me. Hang on, let me listen.
I don't know. I have a fan on
Probably.
too. It's hard to say.
I have a fan on.
I'm not moaning, by the way. It's just an observation.
I know. I'm kind of by the fence. It could be. I don't know. It's sunny here though. So
So, Neil, is the crazy heat wave in England all done now?
Almost. It's still warm for us. It's still too hot for me. You'd find it cool, I would imagine. You'd all be in your in your jumpers and your woolly hats, I would think. But it's still hot for me. It's about 20. Oh, you don't do our thing, do you? It's about 25. So double it and add 30. That's 50. It's about 78, 79, 80, something like that. Which is way too hot for me.
That is awful. I'm so sorry. That's too hot.
Go on. What is it for you at the moment?
Let me look. On the Oregon coast, which it was raining this morning, it was so nice. It is currently 63 degrees where I'm at now, but that's so hot for me.
Wow.
So.
It's in the 70s here, but it's been raining all day. Yesterday.
So I'm hotter than you guys.
Yeah.
It's 84 here.
It's because you live in a city surrounded by bricks and metal and concrete.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty suburban in my area. We have trees all up and down the streets, and so and the houses aren't exactly all together. So it's not
Okay.
so bad here, but Yeah, it's not ideal.
You guys, my husband is able to talk now, so I'm gonna jump off for a little bit.
Okay.
Well, thanks for
Um,
coming, Carrie.
Tell
Yeah.
him you said hi.
If you guys are still streaming when I'm done, I'll pop back in. But
Okay, hold up
but-
your knitting real quick before you go. Where is it?
oh god.
How far did it get?
We
Let's see
need
quick.
It
Life.
got further. However,
Yay!
there's this part. I just abandoned that part right there.
You know, sometimes you just need to. It's all right.
That part
I'll
is
do something
toxic.
Are you going to cut it off after?
Get it out of your life.
All right.
Cool. Okay. Bye, ladies.
Bye. And Neil.
Oh, that's my own fault, isn't it, for identifying as a black woman? I forgot.
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
That's true. Get your
She's respecting my
internalized
pronouns.
bigotry out of here, Neil. Okay? We support you.
She was respecting your pronouns, okay?
No, I was asking you about the weather because I heard that like there's crazy flooding in Pakistan and there's like deadly heat wave in China, and I guess that I'm wrong and that global
Lava
warming
running
is
through
a
the
thing.
streets of England, just
Yeah.
from the graphic. That's what
Well,
I got out of it.
Yeah, they've been, threatening us with death and mayhem for quite a while now. You know, it's
Yeah.
the worst it's ever been. It's the hottest day ever. It's the rainiest day since records began. You know, we've had loads of things like that, and it's not. When you've been around a few decades, you can you can survive this.
Right. Well, my husband's a scientist and he loves to say stuff like, they say it's the hottest day ever in recorded history. Well, they've only been keeping records for 100 years. Things go in cycles. So it's not like totally insane to think that this is just a warm cycle and it will go. My stepdad is 80. He was telling me that in the 70s that they were
The
talking
Ice
about the
Age.
coming ice age.
Yeah, I remember.
So like
we were all going to die in an ice age. I remember talking about it, and at the time, do you remember the snorkel hats, hoods on coats? It was like a coat that had a big furry edging around it, and you zipped it up, and then the front kind of came out like in a tube. You know, they were called snorkels, and everyone was wearing them because we all thought we were going to freeze. We genuinely did, you know.
Look, it came back around again with the heating costs.
Well, I've, it needs to go on my gravestone eventually that I survived the ice age, I survived the acid rain, I survived the drought, the flood, the sun burning your skin off. What else?
Pandemic?
The pandemic, yes. Y2K, 2012. What else? I've lived through it all.
You lived through the Mayan end of the world, if you didn't cover that one already.
Yeah. Oh, and so, Greta Thunberg, or Greta Thunberg.
How dare you!
How very dare you? Did you know that in the 80s, there was another version of her, and she was Spanish?
Oh, God.
Yeah,
No, for
and
real?
what they do every decade, every couple of decades, they wheel out a young girl to tell everybody about the end of the world. And the reason for it is because nobody will dare to question a young girl. And now Greta Thunberg, or whatever she's called, she's going to be too old now. So you'll see that she'll just disappear. And then they'll bring another young girl out in about 5 years who'll probably have a disability. They'll need to take it one level further.
Oh, God.
Well,
And then,
maybe
like-
she'll be a non-conforming gender person.
Yes, yeah.
I don't even have those words in the right order, but you guys know what I'm talking about.
Okay, sorry. But, okay, so in our chat right now, the two accounts that are Carlin, that is the most Carlin comment I've ever seen. Flowers is keeping score. Be careful about her other sock puppet account. That is the most dead giveaway. That is so funny.
So can the two accounts post at exactly the same time to prove you're not the same person?
Yeah, because they're pals, of course. Oh, that's so... Okay, that was good.
Whatever,
That
man.
was worth the price of admission right there.
God, it's so
He's
fucking
keeping
entertaining.
score.
And
Okay.
and I'd like to say that Technothor is in there defending your honor there, Tina.
Yes,
Hey,
I-
and
he's my dragon
Michelle. Hi.
Anyways, that's awesome.
Oh, whatever. Sorry for real people in the chat. I've started ignoring you just because, you know, there's too much nonsense.
Not Carlin either. It's like seems to be a standard phrase, that doesn't it?
Oh man.
I think that's a yarn, Tina. Not Carlin. Sorry.
I think we should just have an entire potato line now.
Well, I'm already planning the my Valentine's in Prison collection. So we've got like Bubba Says Hi. We've got my prison nickname is Small. We've got
I don't know what this comment is. Oh, sorry.
Does she mean me? Is that me?
I don't know.
Yes, I do have both. I do. Yeah, this black woman
God.
does have a cock. And a beard.
That's just empowering. That's just girl power. You go, girl. You can be whatever you want to be.
Oh no, I
Here,
think
this
she meant
is,
somebody else there. didn't she?
apparently, if you go against any of us, we're just gonna call you all Carlin. So I didn't know that. I guess now we know. So you guys,
Yeah. But
I have no idea.
whatever. Anyways.
I could totally see using that as like a, like, God, that bitch at the grocery store was such a Carlin. Like, that's totally the new Karen.
Oh, is that gonna be our new Karen?
Yes. Yeah.
And can the male version be Gary?
Yes, it already was. You know that.
Trying to give Gary, Indiana a bad name.
Gary.
Who is cooler than Gary, Indiana? I mean, come on. Have you seen that album cover? Y'all don't know. what
I've
I'm
been
talking
there once and it was by mistake, as most people say about Gary, Indiana.
about.
Oh, it's
Oh,
a
yeah.
place.
Dude, there's I remember there was a police officer once that told, I was watching some show and the guy in the show was like, yeah, we were rolling through Gary and police officer said, it's okay, don't stop at the stop signs, just keep going. It's okay,
No,
we're
it
not
was- I don't know if it is now, but it was the highest murder per capita for a long time.
For real?
Yeah, like Murderville, USA.
Yeah. Yeah.
More
it's,
than like Chicago and Detroit and stuff?
No, it
Yeah.
beat it. Yeah.
What?
don't
Someone was
scare-
born there. Sandra? She was born in Gary.
Don't go there. Thanks for the
The words of
advice.
wisdom.
Is that name, is it Candra or Sandra? Spelt like that.
In my head, I always call her Kendra. It could be wrong.
Sorry. Mispronouncing.
Knitting Gary likes it rough.
Wow. All of a sudden, the chat has really taken a turn. Oh, man. Good thing my kids aren't here, man.
Very true. Sorry, to refocus. So this issue of Blocked, it's just articles, right? No knitting patterns. That is every
Yeah.
other one.
Yeah, there's no patterns. There's just the dishcloth pattern, but there's no other patterns. That'll be in issue 5.
When does issue 5? When do you? Because I have a pattern and an article that needs to go on issue 5.
Well, I want to try and get that one out sooner than I got this one out, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
So I'm hoping it'll be out at least in by the middle to the end of September. I hope.
Okay.
But it does
Gonna do
depend
a big-
on patterns, really. If I get enough patterns sent in, I've got 2 that I think I can put in. So I'm just waiting for others.
Just waiting for those people who said they'd do it.
Yeah. I'm tapping my
Well-
fingers, waiting.
Okay. Well, in my defense,
See,
my
I-
family went to shit. So
Well, if it gets really bad, we'll just have to put the murder knit shawl in.
Well, not
Loads of
to,
variations of it.
that's what I was gonna put in there. I was doing a special version of the mermaid shawl, but y'all can just have it.
well, not to brainstorm on air, but you know, holidays coming. It could be a look at the lovely yarn.
Oh, Elizabeth, sorry, just got to say, yes, it is coming. I'm writing it currently. As soon as this issue's out, I'll be back on writing the ugly cat shawl pattern, and then hopefully Tabitha will get it tested in about a week.
Oh yeah, no, that'll be super fast.
Oh yeah, because it's dead simple. And then I'll be
it's not
putting
the
it in
beetle
issue 5. So
Yeah.
think September, and then it'll be out for then. Oh, Liz, thank you.
So Tabitha, now that you've hated the shawl so much that you were wearing, are you going to do the new West knits?
Yes. So
Every time.
So tell us why you hate the shawl you're wearing. I don't know anything about this.
well, because it has the nipple slip right here, these loops, so your nipple can slip through it.
Well, why do you wear
What?
shawls with nothing on underneath?
That's what I was gonna go. Like, what is happening at your house?
Okay, well, I definitely, if I'm not leaving my house, so this is probably TMI, and if my former pastor is watching, I'm so sorry. I don't wear a bra, like, ever, even when I do leave the house. So there is a possibility. Anyway. No. So when I started this, I hated it. And I hated it because of some people I was knitting it with, but I really hated it. I still hate this part. I think this is the most ridiculous fucking part in the whole. You can do this to your goddamn shawl. This is ridiculous. But then I finished it and I love it. I absolutely love it. So he's writing his new pattern. It's supposed to be out on the 1st. And he took a picture. This is Stefan. That's what I call him now. I don't know if that's his real name. Mr. Stefan is writing the new pattern. And he took a picture with like 13 balls of yarn. And somebody asked, oh my God, is this going to be a 13 ball yarn? And he said no. And I was so disappointed. He should have said yes. Fuck with all of us. But no, I am going to knit the mystery knit along. I'm going to have to do it from stash because I don't have the money to buy new yarn, which is fine because I have a ton of stash. But I love this shawl. I call it the Beetlejuice shawl. But I love it because of my colors. I don't really care for the stuff in
Your
it.
colors are awesome. Just saying.
Do you have enough in your stash, though? I mean,
So
do you think you can do it? Have you got enough colours?
I counted my stash and I have, I'm going to throw up. I have like 800 balls of yarn.
Jeez.
Oh,
That
So let's work
sounds
out
like
how
winning
much
colors.
it's worth. So how much is each? $20 a skein?
So unfortunately, I made the mistake of telling my husband how much he bought because I don't buy any of my yarn. I don't have a job. My husband buys all my yarn. And he equivaled it to, because he builds AR-15s and rifles. He goes, I could have built like 20 AR-15s with what's over there and yarn. I said, yeah, you probably could. So
can somebody work out 800? Is it 800? Did you say you had?
oh yeah, I have 800, but that's not. I mean, some of them are like little ones from skeins, but over 80% is like.
Well, let's say they were $10.
Gorgeous hand dyed.
That's
You're so wealthy in
$8,000.
hand dyed yarn.
Yeah, but
So-
most of hers are hand dyed, so they're not $10, and you know it.
Well, be nice. So take 700 times 20, and that's probably how much my.
Is that
I needed-
14,000? Is it? Is it
Oh my
14,000?
God, do not tell my
Mhm.
husband. Okay, in my defense, some of this was bought for me.
Mhm.
Hey, Amy.
But also,
She's here.
I'm so glad Amy's here.
We should get Amy on. Can Amy join us?
She's at work. Neil just wants everybody to pop on.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, come hang out. What's happening?
Carlin, do you want to come on, Carlin?
Hey, I'm cool with everyone popping.
Neil, you do that on your own show, please.
Well, just seeing if she'd reply.
We keep
You know,
our
forget
trolls
and
in the
reply.
chat only. Thank you very much.
Okay, yes, I do need to check my homeowner's policy, and I need to make sure my yarn's covered. I also need to add my husband. In lieu of my yarn shopping, my husband decided to get some more guns, so I need to update our insurance policy because he has. So he buys a gun or builds a gun, and I buy yarn. Or he likes to drink beer, and so I say, well, every case of beer you buy is a skein of yarn. I just happen to not waste mine.
Exactly. I have a thing at the end. Why aren't you happy?
Yeah, well, when the end of the world comes and you have to clothe all your people, he's going to be thrilled you have all that yarn. So whatever.
Yeah. And I can barter it. You want a shawl to keep you warm? Give me
Living
your cow.
prices, heating bills through the roof. Where, listening to Mark Stein yesterday, it's like, yes, the class divide from people who can afford to wear one sweater and afford to wear two sweaters.
But I haven't bought any yarn, and this is going to sound, I haven't bought any yarn. My last order, I think, was from Tina. I got the...
Who? What? No, that was totally a gift from somebody else. What?
Yeah. Okay. So I actually haven't bought, I'm actually not buying any yarn lately. So it's been like 2 weeks, which is huge for me. So that sounds really bad. Sorry.
All of 2 weeks.
I found some yarn today that I didn't know I had, which was
Oh, that's always fun.
I'm not that bad. I know where all my yarn is.
And it's quite specific as well, because I'm knitting a Christmas related thing for a pattern for Christmas, surprisingly. And I was looking for some red mohair. So how many of you have got red mohair in your stash? And then I found a load. And it's like, where the hell did that come from?
Santa Claus.
Just call it a loaf.
A loaf?
A loaf of yarn.
No. Did I? What did I say? What did I say? I can't even remember what I said.
Like, is that a British term? That British?
Can I start calling my yarn loaves of yarn? Like
I know what a
maybe
cake
the next time
is.
Might have to rewind this and see what I said. I can't remember.
So maybe the next time my husband asks me why I have more yarn, I will explain to him it's a loaf, like the loaves and the fish, and I can't help it. It just multiplies while I'm hanging out here.
Wow, I'm just inspiring spirituality today, aren't I?
You are.
She's the miracle worker.
See, okay, so
I'm going to start a new
the
religion, a cult.
Yeah. So last yarn purchase. So I was in Joann's, and then I was like, this yarn's really pretty. I should make something with it. And this is just crappy acrylic. You see, this is not anything special. I should maybe make something. And
Mine's acrylic
Mine's acrylic.
from Joann's.
Tina's seething. Look, she's so angry.
I have Tina yarn, but this is for my craft show where we already established that people don't pay me what stuff is worth, so I'm not going to use my
That's
hand-dyed
true.
yarn for it.
your shawl
gonna make
is absolutely lovely. But every time I see Tabitha's, Jack Skellington sweater, and I'm like, dang it, girl. It's so cool.
Paisley wants to wear this on the first day of school, so I need to get working on that. School starts next week.
Now, is that still the first one that you did, or did you whip out a second one when no one was looking?
No, this is the first one. I put it aside because I had to get that test knit that I was doing for that dinosaur t-shirt. I had to get that one done. So I put this one aside. So I've been working on this one because she wants to wear it next week to school.
Mm-hmm.
So, to match her.
I'm
You
sorry,
just read what
but
I've read.
She has the voice of one too.
oh my god. Elizabeth, please make sure you're here every episode because you are just delivering
Well, that's
today.
you had her on. It's Liz of You and Dye Yarn, so she is very funny.
Ah. Oh, apparently I did say loaf. Somebody
Well, there you
rewound
go.
to check.
They rewind.
Dementia's setting in.
Somebody's yes. See, I am not crazy, and it's you have loaves of yarn. Hey, you were telling us a story about your red mohair, and I interrupted.
I said loads of yarn.
Loads. No, you said loaves.
Loads. Loaf is funnier though.
Well,
It
I thought
works though, doesn't it? It
Anyways.
does actually work. A loaf of yarn, it works.
Well, I thought because mohair yarn are sometimes in those weird disc sort of things, and as you work with them, they flatten out, so it kind of looks like a loaf. So I mean, it made sense in my head if you said loaves,
Somebody here says, I thought Neil said load of mohair. Yes, I think it was load of mohair.
I think.
Anyway,
gaslighting
so
me.
you're knitting a pattern.
I think.
Yeah. I forgot what I was even saying about it. Yeah, so I found a loaf of mohair that I didn't know I had, and I can't understand why I bought red mohair. Why? Why would I buy that? And I must have bought it about 5 years ago, but maybe I was thinking of a Christmas thing back then. But anyway, so it saved me a lot of money because I've still got it, so that's good. So if you want to make this Christmas thing, you're going to have to buy yourself a loaf of mohair in red, and then you'll be able.
That better be in the pattern. You need one loaf of mohair.
And you're like a standard loaf or a half loaf? I don't know. Go to the grocery store.
Sourdough, instant rice.
It is coming gluten-free.
So do you still think I'm very posh and proper now?
Oh, absolutely. Even more so.
Exactly. Your yarn's so fancy, it come in loaves.
Yes, we get baker's dozens as well. That's 13 if people don't know.
Gotcha.
That killed that, didn't it?
Yeah, I actually, speaking of yarn purchases, so besides random Joann's, whatever, that someone is having like a de-stash thing on Instagram, and I pounced. So it was some no longer available Tuscan knits yarn in Persuasion. And I thought it was a little more, I think it turns up a little bit more brown on the screen, and it's really more pinky. So I have to figure out what I'm going to do with this bad boy.
Do you know, I've never had any of Tuscan's yarn, and I bought vouchers for it for other people, but I've never purchased any for myself.
Right.
I need to.
I'd say about 40% of my stash is Maria Tuscan.
Really?
yarn.
So
And you
Maria
gotta
has
get
built
your
her
ass.
house on your money, hasn't she?
Probably.
This old soul house sponsored by
A potato
Murder
loaf.
myth.
Okay, but
Murder
do you want a dramatic potato loaf, or do you want a not a sweet potato loaf, or like, you know, you gotta be more specific. We gotta
Mashed potato loaf,
mashed potato, baked potato loaf.
roast.
Oh my god!
I hope it's a cheesy potato loaf. Those are my favorite.
She wants you to surprise her.
Those green onions.
Oh man.
Oh, Flowers Against Effery thinks you're obsessed with the potato. Spelt wrong.
Yeah, well, Flowers Against Effery is the one that's imitating me. That's Carlin. So yeah, we know it's you, Carlin. It's not. I mean, nice try.
Oh wow. You know, whatever. It has given us the whole potato yarn thing, and
Dude, people are going crazy for those yarns.
here's
It's like,
here's one.
oh, tater
Tater
tots.
tots. That's a good
Yeah.
one. You can make mini skeins and call them tater tots.
That's
yes.
a great idea. Yes. And you know, I think margarinalized would probably go well because it's like a pale yellow, so it would go well with like the whole baked potato thing.
Do you want me to show it again so people know what you're talking about?
Yes, dramatic
Let me see
potato.
if I can. Hold on.
Oops, it's come undone a bit.
There's
There we
Neil.
go. So this
There we
is.
go.
Oops, I'm no good with this. There you go. Can you see it?
Dramatic potato. It's all the colors of
You
a
know-
baked potato, but with drama.
Ta-da.
So pretty.
Yeah.
It is pretty. And for all of the ridiculous names, saying again, you do a good job. You make pretty yarn.
Thank you.
And it smells really nice. What have you done to it?
Nothing.
Every time I open it, it's
What
like,
have you done to
wow,
this
it smells so nice.
It should just smell like vinegar, maybe like the post office, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what happened in transit across the Atlantic Ocean. But
No, seriously, it smells really
Postmaster's
good.
cologne is on point.
Maybe it's just the
Maybe
air.
she was
the air from
actually
New
baking
York.
potatoes and it's infused with the scent
Baked
of
potato with every order.
the essential oil of the potato.
And just
We
a
have
little
found
tiny
the
bit
real
of garlic.
Carlin.
Oh, is this an I'm Spartacus moment?
She is Carlin. Let
No,
it go.
I'm Carlin.
Next time we identify ourselves, I am going to be a big potato. Oh my god.
Oh man, I can't. We got to work on that song, Dear Heart, in the chat. We got to do the dramatic potato song. I'm so excited. It's gonna be like in the style of an old western.
What is this happening on?
Oh, I'm doing a song about the dramatic potato.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice. Will
I
everybody get a download with their purchase?
Yes, that would be awesome.
Put it on iTunes and then give everybody a download code when they make a purchase.
Yes.
Wombat says she's waffle fries. That's the best thing about potatoes. They can be so many lovely things. They don't have to be bad.
Are we going to get onto the chips versus fries thing?
Oh, not again.
They're chips.
Chips. So you guys just like I still don't I will never understand fish and chips in a newspaper.
Well,
Like-
you're not allowed anymore, but that's how
Oh.
it used to be. Yeah,
Why
so
can't
years
you?
ago. So years ago, you got an old newspaper and they served you fish and chips directly onto the newspaper. But now, because of the EU, so this is why we hate the EU so much, they made it illegal. Well, not illegal, but they wouldn't let people do it because the print apparently was going to kill us all.
Oh.
Even though, you know, we've been eating fish and chips that way since whenever, probably the 1800s or earlier, I don't know, and it never hurt anybody then. But no, we don't have it in newspaper anymore. Although they still might wrap the parcel up in newspaper. It gets wrapped up in unprinted newspaper, if that makes sense. So with no print on it, and then they might put newspaper right on the outside of it.
See,
I
and
just
now
I just want to point out everybody who eats fish and chips wrapped in a newspaper does die. I mean,
well, at
Everybody
some point-
dies at some point.
But I was going to say, probably they need to talk to Tabitha because it's probably not the newspaper that's hurting the people. It's probably whatever
it's
they're
the oil
frying
they
the
cook
fish
the
and chips
fish
in.
It is.
Yeah.
So McDonald's used to fry their French fries in sheep tallow or like lamb tallow, and then they switched to vegetable oil. And people, my pastor, he said there was a noticeable taste difference between the French fries from when they did it the right way, and now they do it the shitty way. But I still love McDonald's French fries.
yeah,
Yeah, I was
There's
always
something about
beef.
Hungry.
Yeah.
You're
Beef
just like
dripping.
fried potatoes. I'm like, ugh.
I love
You don't
potatoes.
like
I have
fried
one
potatoes?
kid that won't eat them. Will eat no potatoes unless they are fried as French fries, and it makes me crazy because do you know how hard it is to cook when somebody won't eat potatoes? I'm telling you, it's really annoying. Sorry, it's just my.
she won't even eat mashed potatoes.
No, they won't eat any potatoes.
But mashed
Nothing.
potatoes are so good. How do you
I
not
think
like
it's a
mashed
texture
potatoes?
thing. I
Ah,
think it's. I think the mashed potatoes are too gloppy or something.
What do they
don't
put
know.
on fish and chips in England? Salt and vinegar. But sometimes it's onion vinegar, and real sickos put curry sauce on the top.
onion vinegar.
No, I'm for that. I
Yeah,
am
all
for
it
the-
is, onion vinegar is, like pickles. It's just pickle juice.
Ah,
Don't have had onions in, but we
interesting.
call it onion vinegar. That's all it is.
That's really gross.
It's
I think it
nice.
sounds delicious.
Well, it
No.
can't
Well,
be weirder than malt vinegar.
Do you want to hear a bit of a rude story about salt and vinegar?
Who doesn't?
Okay.
Okay, apparently every country, this will only apply to your menfolk, so you need to check with your menfolk about this. Whatever the national dish is of your country or the thing, their comfort food, when they smell it, their penis slightly expands, so they get a tiny, teeny partial erection. And in the UK, apparently, it's the smell of fish and chips. So it's the smell of salt and vinegar on fish and chips.
Oh my god.
Look it up. There was some
That is
research
TMI.
done on it.
was not
Amazing.
what I was expecting.
So, what's your state's national dish, Tabitha? Shall we go around the room and see?
Probably venison, fried deer steak.
Ah,
Fried deer steak.
you're talking as if you have experience there, so you know that's what does it.
Well, if you were to ask my husband, he would say cinnamon rolls, but
I don't think I can ask DK just yet. We'll have to come back to DK. So, Tina, what's the New York?
Oh man, I mean, probably pizza. I would think. I mean, like we're pretty famous for pizza. You know, everybody's
That
like,
makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
pizza or coffee. You know, I learned that in New York City, we drink 7 times more coffee than people in other American cities. Not twice as much, not 3 times as much, 7 times as much. And they didn't even ask me. And if they asked me, it would probably be like 12 times as much. So, yeah, pretty amazing how much freaking coffee we drink.
I love the way you say coffee.
Coffee.
It's almost like coffee, coffee and bread rolls or whatever you say. How do you say that?
Coffee, chocolate. Go for a walk with the dog.
Yeah, when I was growing up, that's the accent that I thought America was. That sort of New York accent.
New York. Yeah. Well, it's funny because when I went down south after college, I went to go visit some friends in Myrtle Beach. So not like really down south, but this chick looks at me and she goes, "Are you from England?" I'm like, "What? What makes you think I'm from England? How do you, what?"
She mean New England.
Yeah, I think that's what maybe she meant, but she was like, yeah, England. Like, no. No. A New York accent and a British accent are definitely not the same thing, and I think
Not the
this
same.
show
Nope.
very easily demonstrates.
Oh dear. Basically. So if you ever see me eating fish and chips, you're going to know something.
Oh, Neil's in the mood tonight.
I dare
Kind
you.
of
I will
force
send you a
them.
scan of yarn if you show up to the next live eating fish and chips.
Oh, good Lord.
Okay, you're on. I'll do anything for a skein of yarn.
Oh, God.
The trouble is, though, it's really hard to get English fish and chips here anymore because it's mostly either Middle Eastern kebab shops that do fish and chips, so they're not the same and not as good. And if you do get an English fish and chip shop, if you say that it's an English fish and chip shop, they'll close you down for being racist because you're not allowed to have an English anything.
English is a race now?
Yeah.
You're in
Well, English is a
England.
race. Yeah, it is actually. Well, it's an ethnicity, isn't it? English. So we're not allowed to have that.
In
So
England.
it might, yeah, you could in France, in Scotland and in Wales, but you couldn't have it in England.
Wow.
What an interesting conversation.
Sorry.
It's too funny. Well,
And
I
you said
don't know
they
about the
can't
rest of you
unthink it.
guys, but I'm gonna have to head home. Well, home. I'm gonna have to head out because I have to go make supper. So
Right.
I
We
have
are
to go to
getting
the
past
post
that.
office.
you have to go to the post office.
Yeah. I mean, like sometimes when people buy stuff from you, you should probably like send it to them. So
That does work better. People
That
tend
is
to,
good business practices. Some yarn dyers do not that. So I'm glad that you do.
yeah, I try to get them out in a timely fashion and not like, 10 years later.
Fake your death. Like that one yarn dyer who had all these orders and then she just pretended to die.
What?
that
I
happened.
think that's happened multiple times, actually.
It was a Mystic Creations. She like sold a bunch of yarn and then she faked her death and like she had her family post like GoFundMe and stuff and then somebody spotted her at a shopping place and took pictures of her to prove that she was still alive.
Why would you fake your death?
To get out of yarn
People are
orders.
nuts.
And how does your family get in on this? Why is your
Yeah.
family like?
And your
But
family.
it's not the only time, is it, Anne? I think
Okay.
there's been three. I think 3 fake deaths, haven't there?
Okay, let's shelve this. Send me articles and let's talk about people who have faked their death to get out of yarn orders next time. Because I want to know about this. I have to go get my kids and cook supper, so.
This is something I'd like you to write about, Tabitha. I'd like to put this in the magazine.
I mean, she's perfect for like fake murder nets.
Oh, that's
Alright.
brilliant.
All right, friends, we're leaving. We will see
Okay.
you.
Get
Next
Neil's
time.
magazine.
Yeah, Neil's
Yes,
magazine's
yes.
gonna be out tomorrow or on the 1st.
Yeah, one or the
August
other.
edition on the 1st, whatever.
Oh,
It's
but
good.
before we go, I need to say they will get it cancelled the first day that it's out, but because it's a weekday, we'll be able to get it reinstated again the day after. But if they manage to do it on a Friday, it'll be back up again on Monday. So they do this every time. So it's just what we have to go through.
Yeah,
It's kind of fun.
because
Really.
Neil's a racist, and then he proves he's not a racist, and everything's good.
Yeah,
so.
it's just a merry-go-round. We go round and round and round every time.
The kind of world
All
that
right.
we live in, that Black women are called racist. I just don't understand.
Seriously.
Oh my gosh! All right, people. We will see you next time.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Bye.
See ya.